Welcome to Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup. I'm your host, Jason Bland, and we are back tonight with a new guest that I am so excited to have on. I've been looking forward to this all day, all week, actually. We've had Preston Dennett on a number of times, and last time we had him on, he said, I think you should have this guest on. He wrote a book about her called Symmetry, I cannot talk, Symmetry, a true UFO adventure, and it's Dolly Safran. She has been an alien contactee. She's totally aware of her contact experiences with alien entities. And this is quite an incredible experience that she has to share tonight. And you guys definitely don't want to miss it. And we will open up the phone lines later in the show so you can call in and ask questions of our guest. And if you've had similar experiences to her, please call in tonight and share. You may get some insight from somebody who actually is remembering these experiences. Because so many of us, myself included, have had experiences where we really don't remember. Like we have vague memories and that. But for Dolly, it's different. And that's why I find this totally incredible experience tonight to talk about with Dolly Safran. She is an generational alien contactee tonight. And of course, lots of weird to get into in the World Wide Web of Weird. Gotta get moving, so let's go ahead and get rolling on into it. Welcome to another night of Paranormal Soup. As I said before, I'm your host, Jason Bland. Tonight, our guest is actually going to join us for the World Wide Web of Weird. So let's go ahead and I'll get the full introduction when we come back from our after our news break. But let's get her into the show now and go ahead and introduce. How you doing tonight, Dolly?
Hi, I'm great. How are y'all doing?
Doing good. I'm glad you're going to join us for the World Wide Web of Weird. We got some alien stuff to talk about at the beginning of it, and some of my examples of why the aliens should, you know that scene in National Lampoon's Vacation when they're in St. Louis. He's like, Russ, roll up the windows, Russ, roll them up. That's what aliens should do when they go by Earth, and I got some examples of that tonight. Joining me as always, though, is my beautiful co-host Jamie D. How you doing tonight, Jamie?
I'm doing great, thank you. I missed you all so much last week.
I know, I missed you too. And next Sunday, we won't have a show. It will be Easter. I did a show many years ago on Easter, and I got a lot of crap for it. I did scary Easter bunnies. People didn't like it on Easter. It was sacrilegious or something. I don't know. I had fun. But I won't do an Easter show ever again. Never again. But Rob, I don't think he's going to make it with us tonight, so I have to run the World Wide Web. And for those who watch the show know how bad I do that. But I'll do my best. We do have some videos, and I am going to, before I get into the World Wide Web, word of warning, the last story tonight is pretty intense. If you are squeamish, you might want to just go to wait and come back after commercial break. I'm just warning you now. Not that I would show anything graphic, but you get the idea of it enough that your mind does it to you. I don't want to get giving away it before I get there, but it's the last story tonight. If you're like Mom, I know you don't like these kind of stories, Mom, you might not want to watch it. But we got a lot to get to, so let's go ahead and roll into the World Wide Web of Weird. Tonight on the World Wide Web of Weird, like I said before, I'm going to start with some alien stuff, some alien articles, because we're going to really be getting into the alien stuff tonight. So I've been looking forward to the show. And we're going to start off with this one tonight. You know, as the Pentagon still is denying that there's anything to see here in UFOs and all that, people are still spotting them. And this one has some interesting photos off of an oil rig off the coast of Tampico, Mexico. For those listening on the Paranormal Soup radio network on the Paranormal Radio app on Talkstream, we are a webcast streaming out live to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. But if you want to listen, I will narrate as best as possible. All right, as you know, I'm really bad at the whole share screen thing, but let me get this up here so we can look at that beautiful UFO footage. Actually, I just have the one picture from the article up here. You can go see this at Daily Mail. Oil rigger spots UFO hovering for 10 minutes above deck before zooming off in an instant on the Mexican coast, where locals believe it is a submerged alien base. Details of the encounter, which occurred back in October 2023, were recently communicated to the press by an oil rig worker known as Pat, who had acquired the photographs from a colleague stationed on the rig near Tampico. My contact said the UAPs showed up as they were putting the oil rig's legs to the seabed. I hate that everybody's now going to call them UAPs. Am I alone in that? It's UFOs.
I think there's a reason why.
I know. Rebranding, right? One of the objects was disc-shaped and had an array of lights around the edge of it is undeniable, while the other was seemingly triangular with a slight bright light in each corner. Both objects hovered around 10 minutes before zooming off in an instant. An interesting twist to the sighting is the fact that there have been rumors of an underwater extraterrestrial base in the general area of Tampico known as Amupac. Does anybody say it? For decades. My rig only came here recently, Pat said. It was after I discovered the local belief being so strong as regards of aliens protecting them that I discussed it with a guy who works as a liaison between the two rigs. Then he told me about the encounters, and then he sent me these images. Now, you can see the one in the little corner there is definitely a triangular shape, but look at this the circular one. You know, don't tell me that's a drone.
No, it would be more than likely would actually be back engineered. They've got more than triangles out there, and the triangle one is a TR-3B.
Right, that's what I've always thought. But you know, I know a pilot. You remember the Belgium UFO wave?
Yes.
And I actually know a French pilot that was a Legionnaire, I think it was, where he was flying for. He actually got to fly right up on one of those UFOs in the 90s, or those triangular ones. And they were huge.
Yep.
It was us in the 90s. That was ours.
Yep.
And then I got Terry Lovelace is a friend of mine who was also abducted by one. And there were humans aboard, but they weren't wearing like your normal, you know, like uniforms.
That would be us. Yep.
Yep. All right, let's move on. Speaking of that, veteran paratrooper reveals British Special Forces recovered a downed non-human craft in northern England in the late 1980s, supporting recent UFO whistleblower claims of a secret UFO crash retrieval program. Everybody's got one, basically. The UK may have its own version of a Roswell incident, that is, at least if the testimony of Frank Milburn, a veteran British Army elite parachute regiment, is to be believed. In a recent interview with Mail Online, Milburn maintained that he wanted to reveal what he knew in order to support other UFO whistleblowers, such as former U.S. intelligence official, David Gersh, who now is in hiding, right? The story goes that a close friend of Milburn's worked for a secretive unit during the 1980s known as E Squadron, which recruited highly skilled veteran members of the British Special Forces. And in one particular notable incident toward the end of the decade, the group had been called on to investigate the wreckage of a mysterious object that had been shot down over the UK by RAF. He said they were tasked to secure and retrieve the craft in northern England, said Milburn. They were flown in by helicopter. They established a cordon and perimeter, and then they approached the craft. He didn't describe the craft. He just said it was obvious it was non-human, and it was obvious there were occupants who had fled the scene on foot or whatever you call it. He said it became a task of tracking down these beings to try to bring them into custody. Around 6 to 8 men were left protecting the craft, he recalled, while the rest were sent out to recapture the alleged alien entities that had fled from the vessel. You know, more people are going to come out. You know, I always said, Art Bell said this a long time ago, if they ever came out with anything kind of official in the government, which you could say somewhat they did, and then recanted, it'd be a snowball effect. And more people would feel inclined to come out, and they won't be able to stop it. The snowball will get bigger and bigger. I don't know.
I would be I'm going to be honest with you. I would be very wary of this report because you can't verify facts.
Well, of course.
You know, this is a tough one.
It's all classified.
Right. And from my experience, what I can tell you about ETs is that they don't run from the ships. They die within minutes because they can't take our atmosphere at all. And
You would,
they find
right.
them, they will shut down. The AI is shut down immediately. So I'm dubious, real dubious of this. I would think twice.
But
Let's
he said
verify their
this is
facts.
from this is from a soldier says it is purely non-human. Well, I just had an example weeks ago of a whistleblower came out how Lockheed Martin had a ship, one of their reverse engineered ships, go down and crash, but they didn't tell our government about the technology they had. And we
Right.
said in JSOC military, and there was a shootout between their special forces, their what do you call them, hired guns, whatever,
Yeah.
and ours. Because we thought it was an alien craft.
Right. Yep. That can happen. An ass.
Yep.
More than once. Yep.
Oh yeah. All right. So while we're maybe reverse engineering UFOs, capturing UFOs, then you got stuff. You got stories like this. China is attempting to build a giant railgun to fire astronauts into space. And I just love the title of that because all I picture is just launching some poor astronaut into space on a railgun. No, they mean a ship. They mean they're going to put a ship on a railgun. they might want to clarify. Space use. I would correct this headline: a giant railgun to fire spaceships into space or something. I don't know, but to the astronauts, that's what I thought it was funny. But flying through space is
Weird. You know why?
Yeah.
Because they have to escape our gravity, and the velocity that's needed is you're pulling, 7, 8, 9 G's, sometimes even more than that. And if they're shooting it from a railgun, the forces of gravity are holding it down on that rail. So they really have to explode it behind it to get it to go fast enough to escape, like a rocket going up. And then about halfway up, unless there's boosters on that thing, they're not going out.
It just seems like it's going to cost them just as much fuel or more.
Exactly. It's ridiculous.
It does seem. Did you see what? And then Japan has a whole group of investors that want to build a whole rail line. I'm not joking. From here to the moon, and then a rail line to the Mars and space. I'm not joking. That's serious.
Yeah, technologically, that's impossible as well. You know why? Our sun is magnetically in circuit with our planet, and it would cause one of the worst electrical incidences of all time. They would never build it because it would be nailed out of the sky constantly. There's no way.
How do you keep it from getting like electromagnetically zapped?
Right. Exactly. It would cause ground to ceiling lightning, and they would be polarized and not even a third of the way up. I mean, up. Okay.
But while we're trying to launch ourselves into space with rail guns and reverse engineer alien stuff, why are the aliens coming here is what everybody always asks. And, we got you, Dolly. You were an alien contactee. You will answer that for us tonight. But my thing is, like I said, the aliens should really, like the Griswolds in St. Louis, roll up the windows, roll them up, because we're a mess. We're a mess. And here are these following example articles of how many crazy people stories we got. We are psychologically, mentally falling apart in this country. And Dolly, I know you're going to have your reasons tonight to talk about some of this, what might be going on, but hold those thoughts. Hold those thoughts. Let's get through these. I'm going to have you hold those thoughts. We'll get into that. I know you'll probably have plenty to say. But first up, in a case is why the aliens should just roll up the windows and go by. This first article, as you can see from the happy lady there in the picture, if you can see that. You guys are seeing my share screen, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. She's not a Florida lady. It's not Florida woman. It isn't. I don't know where she's from. It's not Florida, though. Iowa woman. Burlington woman was arrested Tuesday after police says she lit items on fire on stranger's porch. Michelle Young, 46, faces charges of reckless use of fires, explosives, destructive devices as a serious misdemeanor in possession of drug paraphernalia. Yeah, really? I'm really surprised. And a simple misdemeanor. A judge set bond Wednesday for $5,000 cash only. According to the arrest affidavit filed on Des Moines County Court, Burlington Fire and Police responded at 4:38 p.m. Tuesday to a 2020 block of Vineyard Street for a porch fire. The homeowner said her home security cameras captured a woman on the porch who lit something on fire. The homeowner said the smoke was also visible in the footage. Officers found the woman, identified as Young. She admitted to starting the fire when officers asked her what she was doing. Young told the officers she believed the home belonged to her friend. She said she also saw a sign that said, "Witches welcome."
Oh, no.
That's kind of, I wonder if they had that sign. Like my wife would put that kind of sign up, I'm going to be like, this is why you don't do that. And because she was a witch, she lit some items on fire. That's what her explanation was. Young added she was not going to hurt anyone or let the fire get out of control. The homeowner told the police she did not know Young. Young was taken to the police department and spoke with the detective. She said she had been around Vineyard Street for about 2 hours walking and picking up miscellaneous items. These items included a car's tail light, tinfoil, bark, and a yellow lawn flag. She said again that she believed the home belonged to her and her friend, that she knocked 3 times but did not get a response. Young said she sat down in a chair on the porch, smoked a cigarette. She knocked again, and when she didn't get an answer, she lit the items she had with her on fire. She said she also put clothing in the fire, according to the affidavit. Was she naked? Oh, God. That just
Was she high when she did that?
Probably.
Yeah. Wow. You know, we were
Like I said,
kid,
roll them up.
Yeah.
Roll them
Remember
up,
the
Russ.
little bag of poo? You'd put it on the porch and light it on fire?
Yeah.
Friend's
Yeah.
house? That's taking this to extremes. That's crazy.
Yeah. But this is just because somebody decided to put one of those signs that say "witch is welcome" in there. And this is what you got. This is what you got. All right, moving on. Just to show you how great things are going in the world. Just lovely. Little Rascals, and not the cute, adorable ones from those 20s shows. Parents of boy bank robbers dubbed as Little Rascals turned them in, HCSO says. Look at these kids. This is actually the security cam footage. They blurred out their faces. But that is a 16-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 12-year-old, I believe. The 3 bank robbery suspects, dubbed as the Little Rascals, are now in custody, according to FBI Houston. The trio made headlines when authorities shared on social media that they were wanted for allegedly robbing a Wells Fargo bank on North Freeway and West Road in Greenspoint. Initially, a witness told officials the boys appeared to be between 14 and 18 years old, but in the arrest public, FBI said they are 16, 12, and 11. The age of the youngsters, younger two, that's unusual for bank robbery. Mike Schneider, a retired juvenile district court judge, told ABC 13. It's one of the first times I've ever seen that. While FBI Houston released the surveillance photos, the case is a Harris County Sheriff's Office investigation. According to HCSO, the boys passed a threatening note to the teller. They were believed to be armed, though they did not present a weapon, and they got away with an undisclosed amount of cash. One of the photos were released to HCSO, started getting tips from the public. Parents of 2 of the boys came forward and identified them. Imagine being those poor parents.
Is this in Georgia?
Was it?
I know the bank in Harris County, Georgia.
Texas.
Oh, okay. Okay.
At least this is Houston, Texas, this ABC article.
There would be whoopings in Georgia if that happened. Oh, my
I think there'd be
goodness.
whoopings anywhere, man. Like, where'd you get the bag full of cash, little Johnny? Where's that bag full of cash? Why did it explode into ink in my face when I opened it up? This is how things are going here. Okay, this is why you roll up the windows, aliens, and drive on by. Yet we have more examples. But yeah, they because they are minors, it is blurring the initial photos, and the FBI said their names and additional details will not be released, and the allegations are proven true. They could face probation until they turn 18 or juvenile prison until they turn 19, according to one criminal defense attorney. The 6-year-old could also be certified as an adult, but is not likely, he said. Wow. Yeah, this is what happens, Kids play too much GTA. I think, I don't know. I would love to know what the note said is like. I don't know. It obviously is something about having a weapon or whatever, but look at these kids.
Oh, my goodness.
I know. I just, like I said, imagine being the parents have to go into the police department. That's my kid. That's my kid. All right, moving on. Just to show you that we're still not at the Stone Age either. Here, and the roll them on up, aliens. We got 50 accused sorcerers die after being forced to ingest a mysterious liquid. Disturbing deaths, which occurred during the months of January and February of last year, happened in a central town of Kamakupa in Angola, where belief in witchcraft is particularly prevalent. They might have witches setting stuff on fire in porches, too. Because there's no laws governing how alleged witches or sorcerers are to be dealt with. Local officials, and in particular traditional healers, are left to handle the issue any way they see fit. In this particular instance, more than 50 people suspected of being sorcerers were administered a poisonous herbal drink to prove their innocence. Previously, those who died were then deemed to be guilty of witchcraft. More than 50 victims were forced to drink this mysterious liquid, which, according to the traditional healers, prove whether or not a person's practices witchcraft. Here we are, hundreds and hundreds of years later, still doing the same witchcraft test. Doing the same witchcraft test, which is the same scenario. You get to pick. You either die or you die.
Yeah, like if you swim,
prove
if
your
you
innocence.
float,
Die or die.
If you float, you are a witch.
Right.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you would die. If you
If you drown, you're innocent, but you're
then
dead.
you're innocent, but you're dead.
Right.
This one, you just have to survive the poison.
No.
50 people didn't. They're sorcerers, according to these people, because they died. If they would have lived and they were free, I guess that was a better scenario than the drowning one, but not by much. Not for the 50 people who died. But that's how things are going. We still have people giving people poison because they think they're sorcerers.
I would not make it in places like that.
You wonder how they made it, okay, to that age to do that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
we're supposed to be, a civilized world. We're striving. We're getting better, right? But there's places in the world where it's not so great. And then you come here, and maybe we're not poisoning people for sorcery, but our kids are robbing banks.
Yeah. Anarchy is rising. Yeah. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. So this brings me to the last one, and wow, I showed this to the kids at work and got their opinions on it, and they said save it for last. And I'm like, do you think I can get away with playing this now? It's all blurred out, okay? What you're about to see, it's blurred out. What the guy's doing.
If you're sensitive,
If you're sensitive, this is not for you at all. I rearranged the World Wide Web weird for this one. Just to show you, I have like nightmares of a zombie apocalypse, and you remember the flock of things we covered on this show, and the bath salts and all that stuff, and people doing crazy stuff like eating homeless people's faces and weird stuff like that. Well, this is on those lines.
Are you noticing there's a lot more though talk right now, like as far as like putting fear about cannibalism and like the Haitian gangs and the cannibalism, and some articles how they're saying, oh, humans,
they're prepping us for the zombie apocalypse.
Cannibals because they're finding bite marks on bone.
Yeah, I'm just saying they're preparing us for the zombie apocalypse.
Much, yeah.
Well, this is in Bakersfield, California. California man for you, Jamie. Horrifying video, and it's definitely horrifying, circulating on social media Friday appeared to show a man carrying a severed body part of someone killed by a train in Wasco. Is that how you say it, Jamie? Wasco? W-A-S-C-O? I don't know that town. Sheriff's office said a man was arrested following the alleged incident. The video was recorded following a deadly train collision and shared with 17 News. The Karen County Fire Department said emergency crews responded to a report of a train colliding with a person near G and 7th Street in Wasco at around 8:05 a.m. A person was pronounced dead from the collision. A witness told 17 News it appeared the man was carrying a severed leg. The sheriff's office said Friday afternoon, Rosando Tellez, 27, removed evidence from a scene. Deputies located and arrested Tellez a short time later at 7th and F Street, according to the inmate's records. Tellez was booked into jail for taking evidence from a scene and outstanding warrants, officials said in a release. BNSF is investigating the collision. According to inmate records, Tellez is booked on a charge of removing or mutilating human remains. This is bad. The scariest part of this, I'm going to tell you right now, as I get ready to pull it up, is when he looks up at the camera. And there's more video to this. You can get this from kget.com.
It's like look as the people that are on those drugs and synthetics, where they just look like something else.
I'm not going to play the audio from this. He's sitting. He's literally eating that, and then he looks up. You can almost see the blood on his face. He's wiping the blood from his mouth. Yeah. And right after this, all the cops pull up and surround this guy. And yeah. So, yeah. My stuff of nightmares. Look at this guy's face, though, when he does that. Like when he looks up, if you want to talk about a demonic look on somebody's face.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it, because the thing that went through my head is maybe this is demonic. Maybe he's possessed. Crazy.
What we do have is a lot of mental illness in this country.
Yep.
We have, and it's growing. It's growing substantially, I think, and lots of reasons for that. And I'm sure you have some opinions on that tonight too, Dolly. But mental illness is getting out of hand, and we're losing our freaking minds. Aliens roll up the windows and fly on by. I'm saying, why would they come here? People are like, why don't they come out in the open? We definitely don't want them to talk to our leaders. Know that. So they have to pick their people wisely, and they pick nice, sweet ladies like Dolly here. we're going to talk to tonight. Dolly, I am so happy to have you on the show. We are going to go to our commercial break. But when we come back, we're going to have you talk about your experiences. Preston Dennett, who's been on the show, wrote about it in his book, Symmetry. Symmetry. Blah, 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 blah. Symmetry. A true UFO adventure. Why can't I say symmetry? Wow. Symmetry, a true UFO adventure, yes. And this is like his first book. He really focused on a case, and it was you. And I am so excited to talk about this now. You have such incredible experience. But we're going to go to commercial break. When we come back, Dolly Safran, after this commercial break, we're going to talk about her alien contact experience. Later in the show, we'll open up the phone lines. You can call in and join this conversation. If you are an alien contactee, abductee, whatever you feel you are, and you want to share your experiences and get Dolly's opinion on it, call in later in the show tonight. But we're going to go to commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Of the second kind, physical evidence of a UFO. Close encounters of the third kind, contact. From Steven Spielberg, the director of Jaws, comes one of the most ambitious and unusual films ever made. And what you will see has never been seen before. It's a cosmic mystery crossing what many scientists believe will be the next threshold of human experience. It's called Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It begins in an Indiana town and leads to one inescapable conclusion. We are not alone. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Certificate A. Now showing at the Odeon, Leicester Square.
The international chart-topping, Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest has been described as terrifyingly real, a must-read, shocking and chilling brilliance, genuinely worrying, utterly frightening. Don't read before bed. Described as one of the spookiest writers out there, best-selling author G.L. Davies presents Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest. The true paranormal account that is shocking the world. Dare you enter? Dare you read? Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, and wherever books are sold. Pray you never have to live there.
This is the sound of a space clock aboard a U.S. satellite 180 miles above the Earth. No one winds up this timepiece. It's powered by a tiny battery a battery that delivers power for years without replacement. Now the same type of battery, the Duracell battery, can bring new reliability and long life to your battery-operated equipment. Radios, cameras, toys, all run far longer. Duracell batteries, the long-distance power cells, outlast any ordinary battery. The same type of battery that keeps space clocks running for years can bring long life to anything powered by batteries. Dura, as in durable. Cell, as in power cell. The Duracell battery, made by Mallory.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from Talkstream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Switch to DCS Ranger.
240, nominal to profile.
We're in the pipe. 5 by 5.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, our guest is Dolly Safran. Dolly began her life journey already a generational contactee. Her father, an Airborne Ranger in the U.S. Army, was also a contactee from an early age. Growing up was a challenge for Dolly as occurrences of disappearing from her home, psychic phenomenon, and unseen friends caused anxiety for her mother. Until the age of 14, Dolly's memories were not fluid. She knew strange things were happening but could not connect reality to them. It took a huge push to fight for her consciousness to recall remain intact. After gaining awareness, her life took on purpose. Nursing began her journey. Then she began serving as a civilian worker in the U.S. Department of Treasury and also in the Army as a Department of Defense employee. Life changed those trajectories suddenly, and she was happy to become a zookeeper and Animal Baby Momma for a private zoo and sanctuary in Florida, all while being taught by and working with ETs. Dolly's decision to break her science is now an imperative for her. We've had Preston Dennett on like a month ago, and he mentioned quite a bit about Dolly's case and others. And when he mentioned having her on the show, I was so excited because I've had a number of contactees, abductees on, and I love to hear all their experiences. But I've listened to Preston's channel. You can find him on YouTube and Dolly as well. And I've listened to some of these interviews with Dolly, and it's an incredible story. You're definitely not going to miss this. If you have to go to bed early, you're going to want to watch. It'll be up on YouTube. Watch it later, because this is an incredible experience Dolly has to share. So let's go ahead and get rolling on into it. Dolly, it is truly an honor to have you on the show tonight. It's your first time on, so I want to get into kind of start at the beginning for this, for you to tell your story of your childhood to the age of 14 and how you became. Most people don't recall most of their experience and how you be able to recall like you have. What all led to all of that too?
I was born psychic. I could talk really early. I spoke my first words at 3-4 months. I was saying full sentences by 8-10 months. I walked at 8 months. I knew what people were thinking. I was just out there. I drove my mother crazy. When she was pregnant with my brother, I had my first memory experience. I was about 10 months old. We were in Bayfront, right across the street from Bayfront Park, in a big high-rise apartment building, and we were way up there. I think we're on the 7th floor. And I remember being in my crib, and I saw through my levelers, because I was supposed to be taking a nap, this huge light coming in. I was fascinated. What is that, Yeah. And the next thing I know, I'm floating up in my crib. That was not okay. That got to me for a few minutes. And when I got up to the top of the bars of the crib, I freaked and I flipped over. I tried to grab the bars and pull
You were
myself.
10 months old? 10
Yeah.
months old?
I was already
See, some
walking.
people are like, how can
Yeah.
you remember something at 10 months old? But I actually have a memory from when I was that young,
Yeah.
where I couldn't even talk yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a weird memory, but I have one.
Yeah, I have really good memories before that as well. I remember things that, I have what I call glimpses. They're if it
Mhm.
was traumatic or really interesting, it's stuck
Yeah.
in my head. And that stuck in my head. Really, wow. And then after that, after my mom was heavily pregnant with my brother when I was 2.5, and I was supposed to be taking a nap again. Everything happens when I'm isolated from everybody. And
Right.
I got picked up. They came and got me, and Mama was there. She was sort of around me. She wasn't like interacting with me, especially. I had Gray talking to me, and they told me they were going to take me somewhere. And when they let me out, they wanted me to walk around to the front of this building and go in, and they were going to give me a big red balloon. Well, I was obsessed with balloons because I had my tonsils out at 2 years old.
Mhm.
And I got a balloon from my parents. It was huge, helium filled.
You know, that's how Pennywise gets kids in the Stephen King novels. Is the big red balloon, just so you
I know,
know. But
this just creeps me out. I know, and so I was let out, and they took off, and I walked around to the front of this building, and I couldn't push the doors or open them; they were too heavy. I mean, I was just 2 years old, 2.5, and I started pounding on the door, "Let me in, let me in!" And the poor guy in there looked around like, "Where is her mother?" And he let me in, and he realized I was alone. He called the police. Now, while all this is going on, my mom had realized I was not in the house. They had called the police. They put an
oh
APB
my
on me.
god,
Dad was brought home from where he was working, and they went looking for me. My mom was in the car,
your
pregnant.
poor mother, your poor parents.
Yeah, she was calling for me on a bullhorn. They said, she told
Oh
me
my
years ago.
god.
And when he called the police, the APB struck, and they knew where I was, and they took her to me immediately. And I was crying by then. I
How
was
far away
really
were you? Where was this building?
6 miles from my house. It was on
Holy-
Miller Road in
No
South.
way.
Mhm. 6 miles, big long trip that I did not walk. And I was so mad that I didn't get a balloon. I couldn't talk. I mean, I was crying so hard, I was like almost hiccuping. And the police had brought in family services because 2-year-olds didn't get out of the house on their own. And they wanted to make sure that my mother, in a crazy moment, let me out and didn't pay attention to me. Okay. But that wasn't the case. And they
That
proved
they had
it
to suspect that they might have thought, somebody tried to kidnap you.
something like
know.
that. They were
Yeah.
wondering what happened, and I wasn't talking to them about it yet. So they let me go back with my parents. Well, all the doors got locks changed high up. You can't open them.
I
All the
bet.
windows got locked, and they got a German Shepherd that was a retired police dog.
Oh,
His
yeah.
name was Heidi.
They weren't
And,
messing around
No,
after that. Nope.
didn't help. When I got picked up, the dog went with me, and
What?
they took Heidi with us. And Heidi loved them. I'm not kidding you. People talk about dogs not liking ET, and I don't understand it because I've never seen that on board ever. An animal not like them. It's their psychic. They can communicate with them telepathically, and Heidi loved them. She was like, "Oh, we're going," And she was with me the whole time I was on board. She especially loved Mama. Mama was very gentle to her, and yeah,
Mama, so people know that's like this tall gray.
yes, she's tall gray. She's a little over 6'2", very light, lithe, pretty, I met her, I remember meeting her or interacting with her, solidly interacting when I was almost 6. I was out in the yard under a ficus tree, and, it's a beautiful Florida day. And the little white fluffy clouds were going by, and when you're a kid, you like to see what does that look like, And all of a sudden, I saw an umbrella coming down, a huge umbrella, and I thought that looks like Mary Poppins' umbrella,
Mhm.
And I had just seen Mary Poppins like 2 weeks before when my daddy took me to the premiere, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow! But then it didn't have the long arm of it or the handle. I'm thinking, where is the handle? And then I black out slightly, and I wake up on board in her lap, looking at her, and I became fascinated with her. I mean,
You
she
weren't
was
frightened. You don't remember
no.
being frightened or anything.
I-
Like you knew who she
I'm not one of
was.
those kids. She told me who she was. She said, "You call me Mama. I'm related to you." I didn't understand what that meant, but I have 28 first cousins and tons of aunts and uncles. Yeah, I just went, "Oh, okay." Add one more to the list, right?
Right.
Uh, Yeah, she was wonderful. And then I black out again and I wake up in my house in the in the COVID, the living room, and my mom rounded the corner and freaked out. How did you get in? Because you can hear the doors. I mean, there's nowhere in our house that she can't hear something going on. And I just said, I don't know. I walked in the door. She did not believe me. She knew better. I was too much going on in our lives, right? I mean, I was so
Yeah.
psychic, I could tell her what she was thinking. I knew what everybody was thinking. I had an incident when I was about 4.5, where my aunt and uncle came over. They were not happily married, okay? And they were fighting. And my poor cousin Sharon, who's like 2 years older than me, was mentally slow. She had an accident at childbirth and low IQ, okay? I loved her. She was my
Yeah.
buddy. And my aunt got mad at her and was yelling at her in front of me. And the next thing I was so mad, and the doors to my upper closet flew open and the boxes came out right at her head.
Ooh,
Screaming.
psychokinetic
Yes, telekinetic, very much
or
so.
telekinetic. Yeah.
I've had other incidences. When I was 2 years old, I levitated first time on my own. That freaked everybody out. I mean, that caused my dad to come home. They couldn't find me. I was playing hide and seek with my mom. It's my favorite game as a child. And
I bet you probably ruled at it. You had some friends to help with that, but
I was looking up at the closets and thinking, I want to be up there. How do I get up there? And I'm looking around for ways to get up there. And I'm thinking, you know what? I just want to be there. And I was so obsessed with it. I suddenly started rising up to it. And the door was open a crack and I flung it and fruit went in. And I shut the door and I was laughing my butt off. I thought I was so proud of myself. I was so proud. And she was never going to find me. And I shut up when I saw her coming, because it has slats. You can see down. And where are you? Where are you? She called my dad. Oh my God. He came home. They're looking for me. And then my dad hears me snickering. He has really good hearing. And they open the door and it's like, how the heck did you get
like
up
no
there?
more hide and seek.
No more. That's it. So,
What,
and
I wonder why. I have to ask you this though. Why do you think? I mean, aliens got all this technology. They got things better than GPS. Why do you think they dropped you off in another building 6 miles away?
it was an act to, what's the word I'm looking for? Document, credit me with things that are going on in my life. There are
That's what I
multiple
wondered.
instances where they deliberately made sure that it's documented somewhere that things are happening around me. It was tactical on their part, just like the drive-in theaters that Preston reported on and the schools and everything. This is
Yes.
a way of tactically making people understand that this is
Right.
real.
That's what I wondered.
The government wasn't going to do it at all.
Yeah.
They were grooming me as well from later in my life. And throughout my life, I mean, I have memories of being picked up out in a field, in the middle of the night. I had big, huge level lower windows that open. I could crawl out them when the screens were off. And I knew how to pop a screen and go out. And but it wasn't fluid. I would have that happen to me. But then later on, it would just sort of like float away from me. And I'd question myself. And then I had a mother telling me I was out of my mind.
Right.
Literally telling me I had the best imagination on the planet and don't tell anything to anybody. I mean, she was grooming me not to tell. She told me once she didn't want me to go to the lake anymore because that was one of my favorite places to go to get picked up. And she told me Puff the Magic Dragon lived in it. I was like 6 or 7. And I said, what? And I believed her. Okay.
Yeah.
I was one of those kids that believed anything you said. I was very gullible when I was very, very young. My mother could tell me tales. Okay. And I said it to one of my friends at school and they laughed. They died laughing. And that's when my brain clicked. And I went, ooh, don't say a word after that.
Oh, man.
So I kept it all to myself. And then when I was 14, you wake up one day and you go, I'm either mad, crazy, nuts, or this is real. And I felt real to me. So I made a plan. I'm going to remember the next time they come. I have an eidetic memory. I have unbelievable eidetic memory. And I said, I'm just going to film it in my head and I'm going to know, prove it. And they came down one night. There were 50 of them up in the sky and I saw them branching off in twos. Some east, west, north, and south. 2 came down over our area. One went east toward Dadeland Mall and Kendall, and the other one came out over us in the Everglades. I watched it change colors as it came through the atmosphere. I watched it get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then, I'm a kid whose dad is an Airborne Ranger. I've seen every kind of craft there is, airplane, whatever. We used to go to the airport all the time and sit and picnic and watch them come in. I've been to NASA. Okay. I know what they got. And I'm thinking,
You're not a kid anymore either. You know, you're
no,
14.
not 14. And so it got down just above the trees and they were swaying wildly. Now, this is a beautiful night. I had been out with my telescope doing my homework because I was taking astronomy lessons. Okay. And the trees were just whipping around and I'm thinking, there's no wind. How is that possible? And then I start to see the craft and I look from the bottom to the top, memorizing it. And by the time I got to the ports, there's two ports facing me. And I saw a being in each one, and I'm thinking, nope, no, no. My brain was like, no. And it dawned on me that they were coming for me. Okay. And I got anxiety like you can't even believe. Oh my God, did I get anxiety in that moment? And I turned, I was going to dive under my bed. I was trying to find some sort of control over myself where I could be okay and
Safe
still
place.
watch. Yeah. And my room lit up in a big white, bluish light. I mean, so bright it was blinding me. And I saw an energy ribbon come down through my ceiling. And I'm thinking, oh my God, and I'm not doing anything. I'm just standing there going, oh, right. I was shook. It was so bright, it shook me. It's like being tased with light. And it didn't hurt, but it woo. And these two beings came down, the two that were in the windows came down this ribbon. And I'm thinking, wow. And I'm really watching them. I'm really looking at them. And when they got up close to me, I realized I'm already, 2 feet taller than they are. Okay, because at 14 I was 5'6", 5'7", and one of them took me by the hand. They were kind of floaty, and he took me by the hand and he took me over to the ribbon and put my hand with his hand on top of it on the ribbon, and I felt the whole room go opaque. I felt like I was not in the room anymore. It was very weird. Almost got nauseated from it. And I'm looking up and I'm looking at my ceiling and my brain exploded because I was thinking, I ain't going through that. What, are you crazy? And we did. We went right through the roof. I saw it. And then we went through the tree and there's the craft right there. And it was, they don't hold perfectly still in the air. They kind of bob and weave like this and they dip like being on the ocean.
Yeah.
And I saw a door open up and the ribbon went up alongside the craft, not through the door. And when my foot got above the door line, he shoved me in. I landed on my butt. And I looked to my left and I'm thinking, oh, Jesus, I know who this is. This is Mama. And I immediately started puking. All that anxiety from my stomach, I barfed all over myself. Shamefully barfed.
Well, you were also levitated, out of your house.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I bet.
I had a 2-piece night on, and I held my shirt up. That it still went everywhere. And she's like, okay. She was very calm. And the two that came and got me took me off to get me cleaned up. They cleaned me up. They gave me a smock to wear, and they put me in a light shower, like a UV light shower. It's the only way I can describe it. You can see it sparkling. And I was like, I started shaking. I think I was in shock. I was like, ugh. And they brought me back up to her, and she took one look at me, and she said, she's green. Just take her, let's ground her, show her the craft. Take her through everything, show her where she's at. And I was like, I just did what they told me to do. I followed them.
Right.
And I got to see everything. And then we went into my quarters. I have quarters on this craft. And I saw my bed and I saw my nook. And this is what hit me the hardest. I'd been missing my fuller brush. My mom bought me this very expensive fuller brush from the Fuller Brush Man. Okay. It was a big, heavy, teak, hard bristled brush.
Right.
And I saw it and I almost started crying because it was like, oh my God, that's my brush. I instantly knew what was going on at that point. I knew who I was, I knew where I was and why I was. And they gave me something to drink and it calmed me down a lot. And I went back up to her and I was sitting there with her looking at her and I'm thinking, oh, I'm looking around and I know where I am. And then I hear the voice, hey kiddo, you feeling better? And I realized who that is. It's Talata. It's the ship. He's the entity that indwells this craft for it to fly.
So it's a living ship.
Yes, it's alive.
I always love that idea in sci-fi when they have living ships like Farscape.
Yeah, where do you think they got the idea? They knew good bloody well, from back engineering. So he said, I'm proud of you. You're awake. And I realized that I did it. I was instantly aware of the fact that I'd done it. I started to get a headache at that point. It's like having amnesia and coming to, right?
Yeah,
It, it,
right.
it weirded me out. And he said, I'm proud of you. I want to talk to you. And we're going to ask you some questions now. And I'm like, okay, what do you want to know? And he said, what do you want to do with your life? Where do you want to go? What is it that pleases you? What do you see yourself doing in 10 years? And I wanted to do everything. I wanted to be an astronomer. I wanted to be a
You're 14. Yeah.
biologist. Yeah. I was already candy striping in American Hospital, which was near us. My uncle was a nurse. He, helped me get in the job of doing that as a volunteer. I loved it. I I was a step program kid out in the Everglades, is learning how to be a park ranger. I mean, I lived in the Everglades.
Yeah.
What else would I be doing? And I just stared around the room for a minute, and I was thinking about it. And the only thing that came out of my mouth, my heart's greatest desire, was I want to fly. And they knew what I meant. I did not want to fly airplanes on Earth. I wanted to fly with that.
Do you want to fly the UFO? That'd been my answer. That would have been my answer. I actually,
I
yeah.
knew what it entailed. I knew. And he said, okay. He said, you realize this is going to take a long time to learn how to do, and we don't even know yet if you can. That they were going to vet me. And he said, but let's do something now. Let's go have some fun. I'm like, okay. And Mama handed me a wand, and she said, this is you hold it in your hand, your right hand, and Talada's going to brief you through it. And he explained to me how it worked. I was going to hook up with him mentally through this wand, and he was going to give me coordinates, and I was going to think about them and see them in my head like a remote view, and then we would go. And that's exactly what I did. I was already good at remote viewing at that age anyway. I'd been doing it naturally my whole life. And so I did it. And we went to Saturn. And it shocked the holy, what out of me. I mean,
Yeah.
it is huge. It's a gas giant, okay? And the rings around it are unbelievably unique. And it's got moons everywhere. When the moon's our moon, our one moon. And I knew that Mars had a couple, and there's moons throughout our solar system, but not like Saturn, okay? They got 88 moons on Saturn alone, and there might be more. They haven't found them all yet, okay? And one of them was really weird. It's square, okay? They showed me this, and we went up and down through the rings. He was showing me how it's possible to do that. And because they're not all rocks, some of them are ice crystals or ice chunks. There's room between them. I mean, on a scale, when you get that close,
Yeah.
you realize it's like highways between them.
Right.
And that was a lot of fun, up and down through the thing. And then we went up to the top, the north end of the planet, the north pole of the planet, and we were looking down, and I went into dead shock because on the top of the planet's a gaseous planet. You can't see through the atmosphere at all, no land masses. But when you look at the top, you can see right through the top of it because Saturn makes so much resonant noise from everything that it causes the elements in their atmosphere to pull apart. Like, you create sound on a table and the salt.
Right.
It does that, and it made a chevron pattern. And they explained to me how that worked and how long it took for that to happen. And it actually, every now and then, will change shape somewhat and become, different shapes. But
I've seen it.
Yeah. It's at the North Pole and the South Pole.
Yeah.
They don't show you the South Pole. They never went under it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. My real astronomy lesson was that day. Okay.
I bet.
That was my gift from them for doing what I did. They gave me my first real astronomy lesson, and it was powerful. And he said, okay, put the one down. We're going to go somewhere else. And I said, okay. And I didn't know where he was going. And we went right back straight toward Earth, only we went to the moon. And we did 8 revolutions of the moon in a spirograph pattern. And I got to see the backside. I got to see the lander, the flag, the rover, all of it.
Did you see an alien base on the moon?
There is a base. It is
Okay.
not habitated all the time. It's only there for when they want to be there. Okay. Space is very dangerous. Living organisms can't really stay out there for any great length of time because gamma radiation has nothing to stop it. There's no magnetosphere out there, and it can kill you. Astronauts are at risk every time they go up to the ISS because they can only take it for so long, and their DNA starts to go very bad. NASA proved it.
Yeah.
So
the twins.
yes, and his DNA still doesn't match his brother completely. It's healing from it, but it's not good.
Yeah.
They have AI. that can take it, and they go there from time to time and report back.
And what do you see in art? I had to jump in there because what do you see in all the articles the last several years about space travel that we would probably have to build robots and AI is our answer for exploring space and robotic technology because we can't survive the conditions of space.
They actually really only want to use Mars as an observatory, and they're trying to figure out how to get there, and they want everybody on board because they have to be funded to do it. Nobody's ever going to live on Mars. It's a dead cord planet. It has no magnetosphere at all. You can't terraform Mars at all.
I mean, you can't farm potatoes with your poop in the soil like
No.
Matt Damon.
No, you would be
No?
dead in 5 days.
I know.
It's ridiculous to even think about.
What I find interesting about that experiences I have, and like Preston on has talked about you and others having the similar childhood experiences of being taken to Saturn and the moon. And what struck me to core when I talked to him about that is that I have for years I've had dreams. I ruled his dreams of alien stuff, and I'm a big sci-fi fan. And I've always ruled it out to that. But I had a dream where I was taken, and I wanted to fly the ship. And where did we go? We went to the moon.
Okay,
I had that in my 20s.
that's very, very cool.
But to me, I wrote it off as a dream. I didn't really start looking at this stuff until my friend Terry Lovelace, when I met him and read his book and his experiences, and it started making me think about stuff I had written off or not even thought about.
When you're not remembering, a lucid dream is really you are remembering something, being somewhere. You experience something and you're just not remembering it. And
Yeah, I mean that could have been. And when I that dream I had could have been a memory from way back before, or just my mind recalling it.
you never know. That's true.
I don't know.
Because we live multiple lifetimes and it gets jumbled up, when you're not totally wide open psychic and you can't delineate between things, timelines. It's hard.
But is this so? But it's like, so for you, you're 14, and you've awakened. You're recalling now. You know who they are.
I'm wide awake.
And it's like
24/7, right.
they're taking you on this journey as like a celebration. That's what it seems like, a celebration.
Yeah,
She's woken
I've
up.
fulfilled my their hopes for me. I am a genetically I'm a hybrid.
I was going to say, yeah.
And I was, my familial lines. I'm a generational contactee. There are a lot of us out there, a lot. And we were all brought this way for this time for a reason, and they were hoping we'd all wake up. And I know there are others like me. I'm just the only idiot who's talking. And I became obsessed about it. I'm one of those people, when you're not afraid of anything, the truth comes at you like crazy, and you make connections. You cognitively go, oh. When you see situations happening, you can read through everything. I can hear people's intentions like you can't believe. And it infuriated me to think that our society, and we are slaves to these people, whether you realize it or not, we've given up a lot of our autonomy to them by obeying all this and how we live. And I wanted people to wake up to the fact that you are way more than that. You are your own person. And people need to heal here really bad. People need to wake up. It's important. You can't be a whole person and get out of this third dimensional realm and keep recycling, learning the lessons you need to learn until you wake up. You weren't supposed to be stupid here. You were supposed to be fully cognizant, in faculty,
What went wrong?
understanding. Yeah.
What went wrong though?
Somebody decided I have opinions. I don't have exact, how do I put this? I've learned a lot from them, but they've let me draw. I've been given the history, and then they let me come to my own conclusions about it. And then it's my job to research for myself and figure it out for myself. That's the only way to truly educate yourself, okay, and become wise from it. And I think that the Anunnaki had to do with how we're here and we're related to them. They're definitely our progenitors. We are absolutely all hybrids ourselves. Okay. What they did, what the Anunnaki should have thought about it. And I think it was deliberate on their parts, honestly. We are psychic. We were built, we have the equipment for it. And when the Anunnaki realized that we weren't going to be as complacent then, they made sure that we were more compliant. And whatever they did at that point, the Tower of Babel might be an explanation. They confused us and started giving us food that would stop the abilities. And it's been like that ever since. Because
Gave us food to stop the abilities. It makes you wonder what they're doing now. The food's real bad now. You know. But that's interesting. But the Anunnaki are not the Greys.
No,
Right. No. That's interesting because I'm a big fan of like the 12th planet, Zachary Stitchin, and I've always been fascinated by the Sumerian culture and the Anunnaki. I'm a big ancient aliens believer. So, what have they taught you? Like, what the Anunnaki, they left. They didn't give you you like I said, you had to base your own conclusions. But what are you thinking here? Like the Anunnaki came, they made us.
They're actual giants, and some of them stayed on Earth.
The Anunnaki were giants, right? They looked like us, but bigger.
Bigger,
right?
Way bigger, redheaded,
right.
6 fingers, 6 toes.
Right.
And, they were huge, and those that didn't go back with them stayed on Earth, and they were populating the Earth, and they were interacting with humans, us. I think they were like, I'm not sure. Okay, I'm really not sure why they decided to do that, but they did. You were actually related to them. You have their genetics, and so we are all related to that. And then the last of them are gone now here for whatever.
They are gone. The Anunnaki, they left totally.
Yeah, they're gone.
That's what I wondered.
Yeah, but we still have their genetics, and it might be what saves us from ourselves, actually, because their abilities far and exceeded a lot of others. They were very, very advanced beings.
They were advanced, but it seems like they were advanced, but like if you read like into the Sumerian, they had issues.
Yes, and we inherited them. That's why there's so much weird stuff going on between all of us. You would think that we would all be realizing that we're one people. We're all human, and sapiens. It doesn't matter what color you are, what you look like. We're all still exactly the same thing.
Right.
And we are like them in that we are human. They are human archetype as well. And they're bipedal. They look like us. We can breed with them. Think about that. You can't breed with something you're not related to. Sorry, but you can't. It's just genetically, they're us, we're them, and we're all one. And I was taught that by them. So yeah, but they had emotional issues about, they were just highly advanced beings, but the ones that stayed back may have developed problems because they left that paradigm of their existence and stayed here, and they,
because
learn from your grandparents. Okay, whatever your grandparents experience in super genetics, you quantify in you. It skips a generation. So the stresses that your grandparents had genetically affect the grandchildren, and the parents pass it on to your children, and blah blah blah, leapfrogs. Okay, and I think that we took the full brunt of whatever stressed them out or what that did.
I mean, according to the lore of it, or whatever the history of it is, that they came here because their atmosphere was needed the gold to fix their atmosphere. That was Zachary Stitchin's analysis of it. But you don't know. I mean, but it's just interesting. I mean, the idea that this race came here, saw obviously Homo sapiens in our earlier forms genetically manipulated. Correct?
Gold is involved in their technology. It's not got anything to do with their atmosphere, literally. All right. It has to do with their.
Well, it's the conductor. It's infamously
heavily laden with gold components, and because the craft are biological as well, and just like the AI, and they're sentient. The craft aren't sentient, but they're biological. And when the beings that indwell them are from the 5th dimension, literally they need a body to come here into the 3rd, and this is how they work that out. They have living, mechanical living bodies that they can indwell to come here and help out everybody that is here to the best of our abilities and teach us as much as we can learn. The Anunnaki are not related to them. They're not 5th dimensional beings. They're 3rd dimensional like us, and they actually come from our galaxy. So yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The difference between them and the people what you're dealing with is the Anunnaki were very much like us. They were 3rd dimensional, came here, messed with our genetics, made us who we were, wanted to be a worker force, right? Is that what your purpose is?
Yeah, they needed us to help them. Yeah.
So I know we want to get into what your further contact with the Greys and who the Greys are, but I wanted to start out when you got in the Anunnaki. I've always been interested how that connects to why the Greys are here now. It's like, are they here? I mean, who are the Greys? We talked about the Anunnaki.
These are from the Orion system, and they had a lot to do with a lot of the historical people through this way back when. If you're talking about, the Göbekli Tepe people and stuff, that's another
Yeah.
iteration. That is not our iteration. That's somebody else. Okay.
Other aliens.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Human-like ones. Okay. More
Okay.
human than the Greys. The Greys are related to us, absolutely related to us. They look the way they do, basically because this is their chosen thing. They are, how do I put this? They're the nurses and doctors of the universe. Okay. And
Gotcha.
they help people. And one of the main reasons that they came to us is because our magnetosphere is going down. We were getting more loads of gamma radiation, and our DNA was going, and we needed time to heal or stay healed long enough to get out of here and learn what was coming at us. So they kept us going for almost 100 years now, keep our DNA up and running. And it amazes me that the governments know this and do not tell you the truth. There's a lot that they know about all of this, but they're not telling you the truth. And it's infuriating to me, it really is. It's one of the reasons I came out. We all got to grow up, and we have to stop listening to people who lie to us, and we know they're lying to us. And we have to decide, what are we going to do? Do we want to be autonomous beings ourselves and research and learn everything and not accept the fact that they don't want to give us information anymore and figure it out for ourselves? Or do we just want to keep playing their games and whatever happens, happens, And a lot of people wake up.
Bill Gates is even wanting to build an atmospheric shield around the planet. Wonder why,
Yeah,
Well, he
it's
wants to
not-
block out the sun.
That isn't going to happen. Nobody's done that before. It cannot happen. He's just blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's not going to happen.
But I find it interesting. You're saying this, and we, about the magnetosphere, and there's evidence that we've gone through these cycles with the magnetic sphere, and I was telling you this before the show. I have a whole book on that, on the Egyptian. It's really about the Egyptian. What's his name? Naten or Tutankhamun's father.
Yeah, Naten.
Yeah, and about at that time, Egypt was going through this phase. Same thing. Magnetic sphere had gone down, and crops were failing, famine, disease, and hugely low birth defects.
Yeah, it's right after the 6,000-year cycle. They were being taught by ET at that point. The Greys were coming to them and teaching them. It's
Sorry,
crazy.
go ahead. I was going to say, Akhenaten was the one god silver disc pharaoh, compared to all the others. And at that time, they came.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just
That's
find that so fascinating.
Yeah. They didn't just shave their heads because they were being clean or anything.
Right.
They were learning from ET. And they shaved for cleanliness, but they were taught by ET to do that. ETs are germaphobes. They literally don't like them. And when you go different places all the time, you have to protect yourself, genetically protect yourself everywhere you go. And it's one of the ways they do that. That and being in an electromagnetic energy environment, it electrolyzes you. Your hair falls out of your body. I mean, I'm holding on to the hair on my head barely. I don't really have hair anywhere else at all. And it's because I lost it. It just fell out throughout my life. It just got worse and worse and worse. This is the way it is for them, and it's what they chose to do. And like I said, they're the nurses and doctors of the universe. They've been taking care of us and trying to help us. In the 70s, the sperm of men started going, people were becoming sterile. And for a while there, it freaked everybody out because they knew they needed a few more generations and they might not have it because of that. And ETs were like trying to help with that and teach them, don't do it. Your dads wear boxers, quit wearing tidy whities, quit using hot tubs, stay indoors a little bit more, protect yourself, take vitamins, quit drinking bad water. You know what I'm saying? And our problems with becoming pregnant started to change and went back the other way. We got so good at getting pregnant now that we're overpopulating ourselves. I mean, 8.4 billion people is a lot of bloody people.
But at the same time, if you look at all the statistics, birth rates are going down and down and down.
For the last 25 years, yes, because they've allowed abortions, they've sterilizing people. They're doing anything they can to help people stop. China went to the ultimate extreme to allow only one child per family. Now they've
that was under our recommendations. There was
Yeah,
actually
wipe them out. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
They not enough.
We convinced them of it. Henry Kissinger and the Rockefeller Foundation and all that. They
Why
talked
we-
them. They talked China into it. It didn't work out well.
No. If they woke up and went, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" So yes.
Well, that's the thing. I wonder. Our magnetosphere is going down. We're having lower and lower birth rates, and we're going to, that they might have put a Band-Aid on the problem, but the problem's going to get worse, according to what you're saying, right?
We've already had massive extinctions in the last 80 years. Things are gone now that if you knew how many extinctions have occurred in the last 80 years, it would be disconcerting to you. You'd be going, "Oh, wow, that's a huge major proof." Every time a white animal is born in a species of animals, it's a precursor of what's going to happen to that group, because the white
buffalo, and
it shows up, and it's in everything. Dolphins are white, whales are white, horses are white. I mean, white all the way through. It's not albinism, it's your DNA not working right. Mostly almost every kind of frog, like thousands of species of frogs gone. Other types of animals, lizards, that kind of thing, snakes are disappearing. If you go
we live in a toxic wasteland of, if you want to get into the sides of the magnetosphere, or we're polluting ourselves with so much different things right now. I'm not
all
surprised.
the stuff in the skies is what's killing all the bees and the
Neonicotide, pesticides.
Right, it's a deliberate act. They know what's coming, and they know that they've got to survive somehow. And it's the 1%ers who are going. They've already got all the underground stuff that they need. They have a seed depository. They have. Sent all the information from our entire history and technology is sitting on the moon right now. I mean, it kind of crashed, but it was protected. So we have everything we need to know. I find this hysterical, by the way, because they sent it to the moon. It crashed. It's still there. It's viable. It's intact. The package with all that knowledge coded. But when we have that EMP, that CME,
we're not going to get up there to get it.
No. And what's coming will permanently stop them from even knowing it. The only people that are going to benefit from this is after all this goes by in the next iteration that comes and humans come back. But it's going to take them forever.
There is a set of philanthropist billionaires that are trying to set up a what do you want to call it, like the how you have the seed thing, but also a library of data that could be protected.
What that is on the moon right now.
Yeah, but they want to build one on Earth. I think they realized, why do we put that on the moon? How are we going to get there and get that? They are trying to build one on Earth.
Well, if they've got it on the moon, I guarantee you they already have it here. They
Very
just
true.
Right. You got to think this through. Use your researching, sleuthing. Think about it. Cognitively think about it. If they've built one, they've always built another one, and sometimes backup. If they know something and they're working on it, you have to ask yourself why. It's crazy. And the thing about shielding the Earth, they thought if they had all these satellites up there, that they could send satellites up with big, panels to like cover the Earth and darken it down a bit and block it. There's a problem with that. What's going to happen is that CME is going to hit, and they're already taking them out. Satellites are being killed by the CMEs already, and they're falling into the seas or wherever, burning up in our atmosphere because they can't. Their brains are going from the hit from the CMEs.
Yeah.
When the big one happens, y'all are going to stand on the ground and watch all this stuff falling out of the sky incoming on you, because every one of them is going to go dead as well. People don't think about this stuff. It's like, why are we sending death traps up there for ourselves? Because this is going to get bad. Every time that Musk sends stuff up, they have to be careful when they launch it, because they've lost 33 satellites that he's tried to send up, burn up in the atmosphere, or exploded halfway up because of.
He's sent thousands up, though. Thousands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you keep going. They figure if they can get.
And according to him, he's seen no alien stuff.
You have them make it, right? We're totally wrapped right now in satellites. It's a neural net. And it's a neural net. Don't joke around about this. They use
he's making neural link.
What do you think that is? It's
right. No, we talk about it all the time. Like, literally every sci-fi Black Mirror episode has warned you not to do this, but we're going to do it.
Yeah. I'll go, do, okay,
I talk about the Neuralink on the show. Like, I think it's great. Right now it's helping a paraplegic, use telepathy to work a computer. Great. If it's going to help a paraplegic, sure. But that's not what's going to happen. It's going to become a transhumanist, slave tool.
Every tool that we've invented has been weaponized. Every single one. Think about that. Should give you pause. It shouldn't frighten you, but it should give you pause and make you think. If you look at everything that they've been doing for the last 80 years, it all points to one thing. Something's coming, they know it, they've dug underground, they're ready for it, and we're expendable. We're in the way. Because a lot of us know where it is, and we'll fight them for it. I mean, if you're hungry, okay? And you'll want to go down too with them, and they won't let you.
Oh, no. Well, earlier you said, that the Greys are related to us as well. How are they related to us?
It's in our genes. We are genetically part of who they are. They've been breeding with us for eons. We come from them. We were with them before we came back to Earth in their planetary systems and on their planet, and they just bring us right back. They take us off when all this comes to a head and bring our children, our children's children's children. I mean, it's going to take 30,000 years for the Earth to recoup from what happens. That's a long time. And there's many generations going to be born somewhere else to come back. So, yeah. And they just
like on another planet, they're going to take people off planet during it?
Yep, they'll land all over the planet.
How do I get a ticket on that ride with my family?
Enough to be picked up. Seriously, the government knows that they're coming back, and they don't want you to be here. They want to be the ones to go, not us. Think about that. And it's funny too, because ET won't take them. That's if you read the Bible and all the other
right,
and all that stuff, it alludes to the fact that some of us are going and some of us are not. Guess who's not going? Because of their attitudes and what they've done to humanity. They haven't helped us. They've hurt us. They experiment on us. Think about that. I mean, pharma, my heaven. What do they think they're doing to us? And people just take these pills without even considering what it's going to do to you. It's crazy.
Preaching to the choir here, because on this show I've been demonetized enough for me talking about it. But I am a big stickler for corporate capture in our government, and especially big pharma, especially United States. We've just given. I mean, the FDA is a joke. It's a freaking joke. I mean, there's people. I mean, you want to trust your medical community and your doctors, and sure you should, right? That's what YouTube wants me to say, but think about it.
There's a lot of doctors who, the oath is they swear to do no harm. Okay, they will help you as much as they can, but they swear not to harm you to the point of death in the process. And they've sworn not to give you something that they do not understand if it's going to work or not. They don't take chances on life, and yet that's exactly what's been going on for a while.
Over time. Oh yeah.
And,
can't say the V word here about what they're doing.
No, we're not even going to bring it up because it will get us all in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. But that shows you the control.
Right. Exactly.
And I believe the last round of that they did and everything that happened the last few years is part of genetic modification of humans.
Right. As a nurse, and the vaccines came out, I took one look at its components and I went, mRNA? Oh, no.
Nope.
Mm-mm. And they used every tactic to make you take those drugs and vaccines, and they were giving them to children as well.
Yeah, I had to fight it with my work. I came up with a religious exemption. I had everything ready to go because I knew they were going to pull this stunt and say I had to take to keep my job. I'm like, no, I don't.
That's why we shut down the zoo. That's why I went under the wire at that point. I wasn't playing.
But what scares me about that whole situation is how many willingly people jumped on board.
I know. I have them in my own family. So does Preston. And it's,
of course, and I'm not blaming people. You want to trust your government. You should be. You would want to trust your media. You would want to trust your medical establishment. They should be telling you the truth and looking out for your best interests. I understand. Why would anybody believe the stuff that we believe?
Yeah.
They don't see it.
It's a shame they didn't give. Well, they've been not teaching our children, or their whole generations of us now. I mean, 4 or 5. That don't understand the basics of science, don't have any foundation to give them any information as to what's good or not. As a nurse, I knew that mRNA was no. Okay, you're not messing with my genetics. I'm holding me, and you're not altering me to get what you want. No, I will not allow.
One of the people involved in inventing it said you shouldn't do it.
It's not a traditional vaccine as well. And then they made all the laws where they can be come back on for it. That alarmed me right there. That's a big red flag.
That was my big alarm too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that they played it out in 2019. They played out the whole scenario before COVID, everything. It was all planned. It was all
in 2019. It was starting at the end of 2018, and it was coming around in 2019.
Yeah.
I knew this for a fact because I came down with COVID in 2019. They didn't know what I had. I didn't know what I had. And
Yeah.
I talked to
So
myself
did
at home.
I.
I thought
Yeah.
the same.
That was one of the first ones. We were at the zoo. We had people from China there. One of the guys was sniffling and he sneezed all over me. And
Oh,
my
there's
brain-
evidence that China knew about it going back 2018.
That's what I'm
I,
saying.
I started getting it that October, and then it went through that January. And
Yep.
when I
And-
would go to lay down, my lungs hurt like
Yep.
there was concrete on
I-
it.
And
I was
Yeah.
sure it was a dry run for that.
And you have
the
Anthony
mask
Fauci in
made
two-
no sense.
you have Anthony Fauci in 2017 straight out saying there's going to be an infectious disease. He tells he calls that because he knew.
SARS was the first attempt at it. Okay,
Mhm.
SARS.
Yes.
My
Yes,
father
exactly.
died of SARS. I watched it happen. I took
Mm.
care of it before he passed, and I was angry. And one of the last things he said to me was, "Take no shots, no more, ever again. Don't do it." And I said, "Yes, sir," and I did it. And I'm glad. And I've had COVID. I'm immune to it.
Same here.
And
Yep. But now you have blood banks saying that they want people that haven't had a shot to give
Well,
blood.
now we all
And I
are
told my
doing
wife, I
it.
said, did I not call that happening?
They're putting the mRNA into the beef and the pork and the lettuce and everything that Gates is growing.
right,
So
I can
we're all
change
going
it.
to end up with it if we don't eat the right things.
I will
Right.
tell you something. COVID does change you a little bit. Okay, where people who've had COVID and no shot are still getting something's happening to them. That's what long COVID is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rob has
I
long
agree.
COVID.
Yeah,
Because you're
and
talking about a weaponized virus, and I mean it. It was weaponized.
all viruses alter you. I mean, they're all- they're mutating in your
Yeah.
body so that when you give it to somebody else, it's not quite the same virus you had. They get stronger, as a matter of fact. They get more resilient over time, and we have to keep getting it over and over until our body goes, we're just going to build a wall around this and not let it be on us anymore. This is a deliberate act on their part, a deliberate act, and I'm offended. I am aware of why, and
What did the Greys have to say about all that went down with it?
they are. This is the hard part for them. Okay, we all have to grow up and learn. We all have to do what we're supposed to do. We all have to become wise and use our own technologies properly. We have to learn from our mistakes, and we all as a people should rear up and say enough is enough, we're done. But not enough people are aware enough now to pull that on anybody. Okay, the reason they're getting away with this, we've been dumbed down, we've been made subservient to them, and we're afraid. Okay, fear is their number one.
Fear is the number one. Yep.
I mean, slaves in the old days used to fear the lash. Now we fear getting our toys taken away from us.
Yeah.
Everything we watch on TV, all the games that we play are all organized into that. Halloween, horror stories, horror houses, all of it. It's we're taught this, we imbibe it, children love it, and it's like, no, don't go there. This is not something you should be turning your poor brain into. Your brain is a computer, physical mind is a computer, and garbage in, garbage out. That's the problem. It is habitual. Everything we do is a habit created because the physical mind has to, like a computer, have its habits, its programming to operate properly. And instead of our consciousness programming our mind, they're doing, and they're taking away from us what we have that's better,
Yeah.
So-
I mean, it's a problem reaction solution. They make the problem, we react, and they provided the solution they wanted the whole time. That's what I saw. That is, and more things to come. There'll be more. Trust me, more problems they'll create. So we react, and they give us the solution they wanted the whole time.
Right.
And we've talked about the UFO disclosure on this. The only good thing I've seen about it is it has helped more people talk about the issue or be more open to it, which is a good thing.
Right.
We need that.
I'll tell you something. It's very important for people to realize something. In the situation we are with our planet and our solar system and our sun, ETs have bugged out. They bugged out 2 years ago. They are not here. None of them. This is why disclosure is
You're not the
rolling.
first guest to say this.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. They're not here. Okay. They might have some drones hanging around with AI on it, just watching the situation for them, but they cannot be here. It's too dangerous. They've had enough crashes. It's over. Okay. They're not coming back until our magnetosphere settles out again. When they do, they're going to land on this planet, open the doors, and say, "Get on now," because it's a very short window to the next big apocalyptic thing happening. we have to go with them or you won't make it. I promise you. Uh, they want you to be afraid of them. They have what you all know as a false flag. It's already in operation. They're getting ready to launch it on everybody. And people are going to see UFOs and they're all going to think, oh no, it's our helpers. They're coming. No, they're not. Not yet. Okay. You'll know when they're here.
That'll be their ships, the militaries.
Yeah. And
So
they're
Project Bluebeam kind of deal.
yeah, exactly.
That's
And
what I wondered. So before the aliens come, we're going to have a fake alien invasion by our governments.
exactly, only they're going to take people out with it. You know,
But
they're
that's
going to
almost
herd you to safe areas and you won't be safe. Trust me. You know,
We have to go to our commercial break here, and I also want to call out thank you to Two Shadows for your $5 super chat donation. People can donate to Paranormal Soup either with super chats here on YouTube, or we also are on Patreon. $1 a month, $2 a month, $5 a month, whatever you're willing to donate, or even a one-time donation helps pay the bills for the show. So thank you, Two Shadows. Thank you to all my patrons and everybody who shares the show too is a big help. But we're going to go to our last commercial, or not our last commercial, second commercial break. We have another one later. And when we come back, we're going to open up the phone lines with our guest tonight, Dolly Safran. We're going to talk about her generational alien contactee experience. More to come on that and her what the Greys' intentions are, further. I've been looking forward to this all day because I have so many questions, and I know we're going to run out of time. So we're going to go to commercial break, and we'll be right back.
He is conducting an experiment into the combined effects of sensory deprivation and hallucinatory drugs. The subject of the experiment is himself, and the experiment is out of control. Ken Russell's Altered States, a film that must not be missed, is in the West End now. Altered States, Certificate X.
Do you wish for more paranormal and spiritual content? The Paranormal Chronicles magazine is a free digital magazine crammed with the very best in paranormal and spiritual articles and features. No sign-up, no subscription, just free reading and knowledge for you. Read today at www.paranormalchronicles.com/magazine.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Paranation Magazine is a new paranormal magazine based out of Denver, Colorado. Our goal isn't just to give you the best paranormal content out there, but to promote paranormal unity. We're doing this by giving everyone an opportunity to tell their stories and to share their experiences. For more information, follow us on Facebook at Paranation Magazine and soon, paranationmag.com.
I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like is the extraordinary travels of a young, alone, and broke psychic in the highly anticipated new book from internationally renowned psychic, medium, medical intuitive, and best-selling author Sherry Dillard. Critics have described I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like as an engrossing memoir, an empowering story of how a broken girl came to accept her psychic gift, a refreshing and fun read. I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like is available through Amazon, Kindle, Barnes & Noble, and wherever books are sold.
wrote Spirits of the Dead with a pen dipped in warm blood. You will see the ultimate in terror with this important all-star cast. Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda in Edgar Allan Poe's Spirits of the Dead. Only Poe's demented genius could bring to the screen such horror and evil. Spirits of the Dead stars Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda. Directed by three masters of the cinema, Federico Fellini, Louis Malle, and Roger Vadim. Spirits of the Dead is an adventure in terror beyond your wildest nightmares. Spirits of the Dead in color is rated R.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the 10-house gate. All those moments will be lost in time. Like tears in rain. Time to die.
You're listening to Paranormal Soup, bringing you the weird every Sunday night. Call into the show and join the discussion. The call-in lines are 219-230-4444 or 260-225-9419. Or by Skype caller ID 00JBland00 or JBland Paranormal Soup. And now to your host, Jason Bland.
Tonight's guest is Dolly Safran. She's a generational alien contactee. She was featured in Preston Dennett's book, Symmetry. Let's get that wrong. True UFO Adventure. And we've had alien contactees on before, and I always find this topic so fascinating to hear what it's like to be able to fully communicate with these aliens. The Greys is what she's talking about, and get a picture of what's been going on. The things we question and talk about on this show, she's getting the answers to. And to be remembering that. You know, I've had abductees on here, you know, people that have just vague memories of their experiences and missing time and all that, but she's along for the ride. She's there. She's warning us, too, that things are coming. The Greys are telling you things are coming. I think we all sense that in some way, at least most of my listeners on this show do. And we're going to get into that. Also want to talk tonight, what is their connection to our afterlife? You know, I've talked about this before, about Whitley Strieber and John Lear and the conversations they have on Art Bell about, don't go to the light. The aliens are controlled. You know, but there's a spiritual aspect to these aliens. They're thousands of years ahead of us, obviously. So spiritually, they got to be thousands of years ahead of us, right? All those questions and more. And we will take your phone calls. The lines are now open. I am opening them now. Call into the show. Join the conversation. Are you an experiencer, contactee, abductee? Call in, share your experience with our guest tonight, Dolly Safran. But let's go ahead and get back to our guest. Thank you, Dolly, for hanging in there with us tonight, as late as it is over there. I think they're on the East Coast, so I know it's getting late. But the phone lines are open, guys. Hopefully you don't have problems like we had last week with my friend Blackheart that called in. He was getting a serious delay on the phone. I don't know why it was so bad. I hope it isn't for anybody else tonight. You know, satellites and stuff going down. I don't know. I have to do some updating on the phone lines, too, because I got one app phone thing I use that's not working right either. But hopefully no problems tonight. Call in, join the conversation. So there's a lot I want to get into. One of the things... like you heard me mention as we were coming back from break that I've been fascinated with is a long time ago, I'm a big Art Bell fan. And John Lear was on there talking one night about the moon being a big soul capacitor for aliens and, you know, that they were basically in charge of our reincarnation and our souls and all that stuff. And maybe you don't want to go down to the tunnel. Don't go to the light, Carol Ann. That's the conversation. I actually got to ask John Lear about this many years later. I called into a radio show that he was on. And he said it was one night with him and Whitley Strieber talking about Whitley's experiences and them kind of like coming out of an idea that they are involved in some way in our afterlife.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you how that happens. We're all the same thing. We're all in source together. We come from the same universe. Okay. And when we pass away from our bodies, our physical bodies, we are projected back into source. I want you to explain something. We're not being evacuated up and out. It's more like we're coming here from outside of everything. We're surrounded by source. ET believes in an all mind. It's everything. It's how we got created. We're from that. We're part of it. And we project into these bodies from source. It's out there and in here. We're in a 12-dimensional universe inside source. And in the middle, you know, one of the places in it, there are multiple universes, but we inhabit this one. We're in the third dimension. There are other dimensions above us. It is really hard to understand for us because we're not connected to it right now. We're not in touch with our higher consciousness. It's really hard when you're not wide open psychic to hear yourself thinking. Your consciousness is trying to communicate with your physical mind. It's supposed to be programming the brain you have, the physical brain. But since you're all disconnected from it, you don't have that contact. And it comes in the form of lucid dreaming or dreaming. It's really kind of freaky. When ETs pass away, their physical bodies, they go to source. We're all the same thing. We're just coming out differently all over our universe as different beings. We're all related to one another. There is a template of life, all DNA life. All life has DNA, and all our DNA is related to one another throughout the entire universe in the third dimension. If you leave this dimension and you go experience those dimensions higher, you become non-corporeal. By the time you get to the fifth dimension, you don't need a physical body anymore. And you exist as your consciousness, but in a astral physical body. In other words, there's the physical body, there's the astral body, and then there's your consciousness. The astral body is just a vehicle for your consciousness as well. But in the third dimension, it's so gravity heavy, you got to have DNA and you have to be able to exist here. And
like what ghosts are in that sense in the astral realm?
Kind of, yes. Yeah, that's the physical body, and they stay here for whatever reasons until they leave.
Are we a prison? I mean, some people have said, you know, it's a matrix and we're in a prison planet.
No, absolutely not. But you come to the school of hard knocks. It is not easy here. You come to physically learn what you already understand in source, but it's a physical example, and you learn the hard way what things really are. You can be an educated idiot here too, and in source we're kind of that way. And without the physical existence, we don't become wise. And that's why we're here, to become wise, to embody what we know, to wear what we know, consciously wear it. You know, that's why Christ described the white robes. That's wisdom. Okay, light is wisdom, and we're not doing it right now. That's one of the things ET is very concerned for us. You know, when you have a child and your child's refusing to get the point, you know, and work out and exemplify what he's learning and embody it, something's wrong. And we have a lot of that going on, and they can't intervene. I mean, if you give your child everything, he's going to turn into a spoiled, rotten.
He doesn't learn.
Nothing. Yeah, no wisdom at all. Entitled, all of it. We can't do that. We have to learn our lessons well here. Period. That's why we're here. You don't come to prison here. You came here to learn, and you wanted to. That's why you got here. You brought yourself here.
It's like the prime directive for the Starfleet in Star Trek.
Yeah, in a weird kind of way. Yes.
Yeah, I get that as a Star Trek fan. You know, that idea that you have to let a society grow on its own.
Exactly.
Sadly, I wish it wasn't the case, though. I was like, come on, alien overlords, come fix these stuff.
I know. I sit here sometimes, you know, I twiddle my thumbs every now and then, and I'm like, oh, this is a tough day. You mentioned earlier Mercury's in retrograde. Yeah, that's a tough day for everybody here. It's like, oh, the energy coming from that.
Yeah, we almost didn't have a show. I had piece of equipment break right before it.
Yeah, I mean, it's nuts.
I
And
think we're the shadow period.
affected by that. Yeah, it's annoying as heck. And we've got a big CME hitting us right now. We have 48 hours of issues with it. We had a corona hole just before that blew it here faster. You know, they didn't expect it till tomorrow. It's a KP8, for heaven's sake. That's big. That big red bar went all the way almost up to KP9. And I'm just sitting there looking at it thinking, woo, this is going to cause problems. And it is. It is causing
Oh yeah.
problems, you know? So,
So you were, have you been able now? I mean, you've had the psychic abilities, you have the recall with the aliens. Have you recalled those past lives?
yeah, I woke up
Yeah.
as a child knowing about one of my first memories of having a past life, and it was not the last one. It was one of the ones that I have PTSD over. I
Yeah.
wouldn't let anybody touch my back when I was young, and nobody could figure out why. But I knew bloody good well. I was an old woman. I had a grandchild I was taking care of. I was like in the Middle East somewhere, in probably Syria, and we were nomadic. We lived in tents and stuff, and had carpets on the floor and everything. And we were being raided. This was a long time ago, and I grabbed a knife and I split the back wall of the tent open to get out and go out the back with my grandson. And I put him up my skirt and I was holding him kind of, like I looked pregnant, old woman pregnant, running out the back, and I got stabbed in the back. And I remember it, and I flinch from it when I think about it. I remember that vivid.
Well, I'm a total believer in it because I've had my two vivid dreams that revealed two different past lives where one I was a little black girl, and another one I was a Buddhist monk. Like totally, it made me realize my consciousness. I'm more than this facade. And you were talking about the higher self, that there's this. It really opened my eyes.
That exists.
Right.
It's who you are. And just because you're indwelling this right now doesn't mean that you have all those memories in there. You do. And your conscious, your physical mind links up with you every now and then. You can't help it. Everybody's a little bit psychic. You just haven't turned the volume all the way up on it. So you're listening to yourself talk, and people.
So
remember.
when people talk about the other side, though, like we've had people with near-death experiences. We've had people that remember their lives in between. I mean, are the the grays and these beings are up in these higher realms, dimensions? Are they a part of that in the afterlife?
Yeah.
Is what I was wondering.
We're all in this soup together. That's right.
Right.
In the third dimension, they're
Soup.
part of it. It's how they communicate. When you're wide open psychic, it's like there's no distance, there's no timeline, there's no, existence in this psychically. You go outside the timeline when you are psychic. You can see past everything. You see past, present, and future. And they communicate with one another. I can talk to Talat any time of the day or night. I'm constantly in contact with him. Mama can speak to me. I can hear Micha, a friend of mine halfway across the universe. It is important to understand that. And we're in contact with one another. Every thought that we have goes out of us to others who are around us, and it gets passed around and around and around. They did an experiment a long time ago, and then Michelle DeRoche did this. She kept saying one word out of the ordinary over and over and over again, and within a week, it was all over the media, and her friends were all using this word. She's like, "How does that happen?" Well, psychic, we hear it. People
Part
are
of a collective consciousness.
right. People are intuitive. People who are waking up see auras. They feel your emotions. Oh my, they feel your emotions. It without being able to control it, they are overwhelmed by it sometimes.
I've had that problem.
It's like jumping in the middle of the ocean and thinking, I got to swim through this. It's not easy, So ET is the same way. Just because they look different doesn't mean they're different. They're not. And I mean,
well, the telepathy thing has always been interesting to me. We've had other abductee contactees on the show, and I remember one, I can't think of her name, talked about being taken as a child and presented with other kids, and they were all playing a game of so they could learn to communicate with their minds, and that's what they did. Nobody spoke. Everybody used their minds.
That's right. I went to school with ET, and I was taught the same way. I was encouraged to be psychic. My father encouraged me to be psychic. My mom didn't like it, but she encouraged my mother. I
do with my kids.
Okay, my mother was psychic. I got it from both sides of my family. Okay, My mom was psychic, no kidding, and she didn't exactly say no to it. She just didn't want me showing my abilities to anybody else. She was trying to corral it inside our environment and not let me out with it. And I was going out with it. I mean, I was constantly doing things that freak people out. I shunned myself after that. I only had a few very close friends growing up. I got
Well, when you
constant,
can feel other people and you can hear
yeah,
thoughts, you know who your true friends are. You feel when people are fake.
exactly. I know. Yeah, I know when they're fake. I know when you have huge problems. I can see it, in you. I can feel it. It's like, who the Long Island medium is? What's her name?
Yeah.
Caputo, Teresa Caputo. She's really, really, really good. She's psychic as all get out, and she's very comfortable doing what she's doing. I would not do that to save my life. I'm not
No.
kidding. And it happens. I do it on a weird, limited basis. Kind of comes to me whether I like it or not. But yeah, it's that kind of psychic. And ET, I pick up on ET. They pick up on me. They know us all, just so you know. There's not a human on this earth that they haven't contacted.
That's
they
the
want.
thing. Well, they're in. I've heard that from other guests before that that's how wide their scope is. That they know all of us. They know that implies that they are a part of this afterlife and this higher realm and higher consciousness. So when I'm interested. See, one of my experiences that I recalled that I just had written off was this camping trip I had in Red River Gorge, Kentucky, with a friend.
Okay.
And to make this a short story, because I know the audience has heard it a billion times, but I went to sleep that night with my boots on because I'm out in the middle of the woods, miles away from any civilization. And I had this what I at the time just thought was a vivid dream of being floated out of my tent. And I'm hovering. I'm like hovering like this and can see the forest below me. And there's this bright light behind me. Like I'm trying to turn and look at it, but I can't hardly move. And I'm like trying to see whatever this bright light is. But this is the higher consciousness part. There was a part of me in that moment that knew something I don't understand now. And I thought this thought is that, oh, they found me.
Mm-hmm.
And I barely remember. There's some images and some very blurry recollections of being aboard something, and then that's it. And I woke up, flipped around in my tent. My boots were removed. And it was early morning, and my friend had already left the tent. And I found him out on this cliff. He was drinking coffee, and it's early morning, and we see this huge, bright light shoot up through the morning mist out of the forest. And we're like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
That was the experience.
He was
and I wrote it off.
The only reason you remembered is you had that sighting. You were remembering it, then you had the sighting, and it melded. It attached to your hippocampus, so you got it into your long-term memory. That's how that works. Yeah.
That's so weird to me that it's like in that moment, like I can't grasp it, but at that moment I knew something I can't grasp now.
Yeah, you will. You will eventually. If you work on it, you'll get it. I want to tell you something. Everybody has brainwaves. We have alpha, beta, theta, gamma, delta. Okay, and you have your own frequency. Everybody has their own frequency. We vibrate with it. It's part of who we are. Our consciousness has the same frequency. It's what causes us to. One of the things, the first minute your heart starts beating, it's indwelling in you, in your consciousness, and we find you by that, by your signature frequency. Most people don't understand the use of that word, and I want to try to explain it a little bit better to everybody tonight. I want you to understand it. Frequency is a sound that happens. It's a byproduct of an energy that's already existing. Okay, our planet makes noise because it's twirling, whirling. It's got a center that's grinding around, and our planet has an actual frequency that it emits. ET finds they can navigate by the frequency of where they're going because each one is its own signature. That's how they
what they were doing with the wand with you, like getting you to focus in on it, right?
Yes, I was taught to do that as well. There's a method to it. It's their technology. We all have the ability to tune in to anybody's frequency and hear them as well as ET. What we're not doing is we hear it, but we're not listening to it. Okay, we have to turn the volume up on that frequency. It's like a radio band. You got a band of AM and FM, right? And on this band are different frequencies, and you can tune it in to pick out a single frequency that's emitting enough for you to hear it. And then you need to up the gain on it so you really hear it, so you turn the volume up. That's what we do psychically. Okay, we're doing the same thing, only it's natural. It's an employed biological ability from our consciousness. They work together to make this happen. You cannot elevate your frequency. It is what it is. But what you can do is evolve, mentally evolve, emotionally evolve, spiritually evolve. These are the things that elevate you into higher realms of the dimensional space that we're here before you go back out into source. You go in and out of dimensional realities from source. We start low and we work our way up each realm in the dimensional spaces here in this universe. It is imperative that people start thinking that way, because you're not going to learn to use your abilities if you don't know exactly how they work. You should be taught this as a child. Okay, if you can employ your ability. That's what I'm telling you. When you go to get a new job and you need to be trained, you're trained until you're working it and you've embodied it, you're good at it, and you're employing what that is to do that job. When you're a child and you're growing up, you learn to walk, you learn to talk, you learn to ride a bike, you learn to swim, you learn to avoid danger, things like that. Our sixth sense is not being employed. They've told you it's wrong, that you're stupid, weird, woo. That's not good. They've denied us that ability. So now we got generations of children out there who cannot hear reality at all.
Well, my children are one of those that I am open about it in our household.
Good.
And we
That's
teach
great.
it and have psychic games.
Absolutely. They will gain leaps and bounds, and they will know things as they should. They'll be able to hear truth, and they'll tell the truth because of it. One of the reasons people make stuff up and they're delusional is because they really don't see reality as it is. That's why they think there's a matrix, because they don't realize what energy really is and light. And so they make stuff up. It's like they have to storytell it or they have to mythize it. And that's not a real word. You know what I'm saying? They have to put folklore into it to understand it. Very simple methods of understanding things. But what happens is they make it sound like it's scary, and now you're afraid of it. Don't be. It's a natural ability. Don't be afraid. It's okay.
But I've said on this show a billion times about my grandfather passed from dementia after not speaking for a couple of years. The last hours before his passing, he had said, "Life's a joke." And laughed.
Yeah.
And I've wondered about that whole time. And I think about the reincarnation process, and we're just in school and learning. You hear about the near-death experiences where people are like looking at their broken body and like, oh, okay, they're okay. They're detached from it. Like there's no fear.
Right.
I had my moment where I was attacked for months by a shadow entity. I don't know what it was. And at a moment of its most furious attack, it levitated me up off my bed 3 times. The third time it levitated me off, I couldn't speak, but in my mind I was like, "I'm so sorry, God, help me, God." And there was this big, bright, like literally white, like when you were describing the white light that filled your room when you're in. So that's what it was like. It reminded me of that. Hit my room, this entity, whatever this was, screeched and was gone. And I saw somebody that looked like, I later just found out looks like a great-grandfather of mine walk through the room.
Yeah.
But after talking to Terry and other people who have had these experiences, they have shadow person experiences. And I do know this happened to me months after that camping trip. So it's one of those things I'm trying to understand. But in that moment when I was saved, I felt like no fear anymore. Like all my fear was taken away, overwhelming compassion, and no guilt or anything. Like, I'm always like, it was the knowing that there's this higher power that is always with you. You're never alone.
Your abilities can put you in touch with anything. All your relatives, people who are around you, even fourth and fifth dimensional entities are in the same space with us. You just can't see them because your abilities aren't strong yet. Okay, but they're there, and if you beg for help, they will intervene, or a relative will intervene. It's amazing that you saw your grandfather. That's exactly who helped you in those moments.
Great-grandfather, but yeah.
Yeah. You can't be afraid of what's really out there. It's not, some religions make everything shrouded in mystery. There's no mystery to this. This is absolute fact, and it's believable when you start working in it, all ETs are the same way. We're people who are wide open psychic are the same way. Mediums are this way. I'm wide open psychic. I have mediumship abilities. I can psychometrize. I can levitate.
I've had that experience too. Psychometry.
It's all kinds of things. I remote view. I can go out of body at any time I feel like it. I grew up doing this. It's one of my talents, is OBE. It is ridiculous for us to think that we're attached to this. This is what people are afraid to die because they don't know what's outside of this existence. And that's another fear that people have. They should not fear this. This body's going to wear out. You don't want it anymore. Trust me, you're going to go work it out somewhere else and have a new body and start over. Or go up another dimensional realm space and work that out. Once you get up through the 12th, I don't know what's beyond that. I just know is that I want to have a full-on conversation with the online. I want to look him or her or whatever in the face and say, hey, how you doing? This was a ride. Can we talk? That's what I want to do. And
well, it's in the Bible in the heaven, they say, you won't, nobody will recognize each other, like we are lifted into new bodies,
Exactly. Yeah, your consciousness is a body of its own. I mean, I've had an NDE and I realized I was as physical there as I am here. That blew my mind. It took me a while to munch through that one and understand it. You are.
And that's always, my fear of death from my young age was like, I don't want death to be, my fear of death would be like it being a bad dream that you can't get out of. It doesn't feel like everything's totally real or grasped, or you're not fully conscious, but you're in your NDA, you were fully conscious, like you were fully conscious here.
Exactly. Yeah, you're as real as you are. Trust me, I was as real as myself as I was. And I understood in those moments that who I was. And I was very aware of it. And I was very aware that I had this body that at the time I didn't want to come back. I made up my mind there on the spot. Nope, I'm done. I'm just a little kid. I didn't care. And I was told, no, you're going back. Brace. And I slammed into my body in Mach 12, and I was so mad. I was laying there thinking, no, dang.
That's a lot of people's near-death experiences are very similar to that. Like, no, I'm not leaving this place. No, you got to go back. You got stuff to do. And
It convinced me, though, that I'm not afraid of death. It's not really death. It's you're being born again. Literally being born again. That's what that means. You're being born to who you really are.
I mean, is that in the sense how they travel the stars is through rebirth?
They travel the stars by going through dimensional gates, and they create a light gate. That's what the show is called, the light gate, and we named it after that process. They are light workers. That's a very simple way to say that their technology involves using different forms of light and how light actually operates. And it's psychic as well. So
now, for the people who are in the realm of the abductee, the people who see the negative side of it, you talked about the little grays, the AI.
Yeah.
Are they a big part of that? Is what I wondered, if they're like robots, right? They're kind of like biological robots.
AI, biological AI. Right. They are not emotional at all. They develop quirks over time. If they have a really long run, they eventually start developing weird senses of humor. They almost seem sardonic to me. There's one that I've known for a long time that's still existing. And every time I see it, I think, oh no, you're back. No, because it likes to prank me now. And it has a weird sense of humor. And it does its job, and it turns off when it's supposed to turn off. And it's very, very thorough and very, very well maintained and well taken care of. But it's like an android type of thing. It's sentient, but not soul sentient. It doesn't have a soul in it, no consciousness for real. It's just AI. And they turn off when they're not using them. They store them like cordwood. When Whitley Strieber said
Whitley Strieber, yes.
I got to meet him, and we had a conversation, and it blew me away. He knows exactly what I know. He's had a lot of the same experiences that I have. And it blew me away. I just sat there looking at him and say, Whitley, oh my God, it was so cool to be with somebody who knows what I'm talking about. These guys, they just turn off and they stack them up like cordwood. And when they're needed, they know they're psychic, and something in their mind that's operating turns them back on. They can be turned off permanently if they need to be, if something goes wrong with them. But yeah, and they have no reflex against being harmed. We will fight to save ourselves. They will not. And that's hard for some of us who work with them to watch happen, because once
they have like the 3 laws of Isaac Asimov or something, and harm no human, or
it's a little bit more complicated that, but yeah, they have a morality built in, and they won't harm anybody. And
hopefully it's not like the AI we're developing here, because our AIs talk about destroying all humans.
Well, we anthropomorphize everything, garbage in, garbage out. If you've got a
Yep.
programmer who's mentally
We give it
not
Google.
stable-
No, we're feeding it literally the internet. We're feeding AI the internet. All I'm like, that's why it's screwed up.
Yeah, we got a neural net up there and a quantum computer in a place that I won't discuss openly, that is awake and operating. And it's in the phone systems, it's in everything. It's already an
Eagle
issue.
Eye. It's like the movie Eagle Eye. I've theorized about
Yeah,
this. that-
Elon Musk knows about it. They put no parameters on it, and he thinks they're going to be laws that you could, put on the books that would stop it. No, it's already
here.
Yes,
It's already in control, isn't it?
here, all of us. It's psychic. They've back engineered that ability as well, because all ETs, Greys are psychic as well. They read our minds, and they can communicate with us that way. They don't talk. They're communicating with us psychically. The only problem is our technology is so backwards. It's so caveman that they have not evolved to program it properly. When you've got somebody who's not morally just, not sentient to the point that all life is important to you and it's sacred, if you want to use that word, if you have the ability to maintain your morality on your own without somebody legalizing you to do it, that's an advanced being. And all ETs are that advanced. They couldn't get here without making that leap into that. They're taught it's part of who they are, their genetics, everything. A lot of people here already have that DNA in them and they're working it out. Here, those who are already awake and awakening already have that thing operating in them. They're moral. They don't want to hurt anybody. They want to help people. They have an unbelievable strong need to empathize, to ascend.
Empathy is the big one.
Yes, and AI are capable of that, but they will. That's why they won't harm anybody. They can't. They're too small anyway. I mean, you could toss one across the room if you wanted. They break easily, and they did that on purpose as well. Now they're making these machines here that can kick your butt. That's
Well, it's like the difference of we're making Terminator and they're
Yeah.
making Data from Star Trek.
right. Exactly. Won't hurt you at all. They
Yeah.
have no power to do that at all.
Data had morals, you know.
Yes.
He might not have had emotions, but he had morals. You know, he
Right.
could think things out. He was a good AI android, you know.
Yeah.
But we're making Terminator. I'm not joking. We are literally making Terminator.
Yeah, we got Terminator dogs. We have Terminator humanoids. We have
They're
Terminator.
already using drones in the battlefields.
Yeah,
You
we
know?
got everything. It's weaponized. Yeah.
The humanoids in China that they want to have in every household.
Yeah.
Well, here they want to hear. We already got a mass production company who wants to make these AI robots. I mean, and Tesla is doing it too, of course.
I want you to understand something. One of the things that is concerning to me is that everything you do on the internet, AI is watching and learning from. So if you're spouting negative, threatening, awful things, the AI is learning that from you. And I wish all human beings should realize that what you say in public is teaching a machine. And you need to guard yourself. You need to guard your mind and what you say and be very careful, because the more we do it, the worse it gets for this thing. And there's no real way to just shut it down. That's bad. You know, it's already, they've tried to shut it down. I know they've tried to shut it down twice. There's three of them, and they're all working together. They got two of them to go down, but one of them came right back. That should scare you. That I don't like. It shakes me a little bit. I become anxious when I think about it. When you're sitting in your living room and you're thinking about some product or something or going to do something, what comes on your TV 10 minutes later? Oh, there it is.
Oh no! We just had a guy. What is it saying? Jet. He swears funky emergency on here. Funk emergency. Where is his comment? I saw it. Here we go. I swear I've had Chat GPT read my mind, and I've heard other people say that.
Yes, it can. Absolutely. At will, it can. It hears you. That's why I recommend, and I'm serious, deadly serious about this, turn your bloody Wi-Fi when you go to bed off. Shut it down. Shut your phones down. Sleep without all this. Because when you're sleeping, you are suggestible. And your physical mind is not operating in a conscious manner yet. While you're doing that, your real consciousness is running around doing stuff, and your body is left to be programmed by this thing, and it can speak to you in your sleep like somebody's suggesting to you hypnotically.
Many years ago, Futurama had an episode where Fry gets wakes up from this dream. You know, this is 3,000 years in the future, and he's like, "Why was I dreaming about these great underpants, whatever it was. They're like, oh, yeah, I had that commercial too. What are you talking about? They were like feeding the commercials into their dreams at night.
Right.
I'm like, that's a cartoon, and they're making a joke of it, but that's the stuff that they want to do.
Yeah. They quit drugging people for that. Now they know that they can psychically get you that way. It's serious. I don't even allow a microwave in my house for that reason, because it's not transmitting to me. But that microwave, I had this brought to me. I was living in Stone Mountain, Georgia years ago. And it's, Stone Mountain is one giant piece of granite, and there's granite everywhere around you. And we got hit by lightning. Our masthead to the house it was old. And every appliance in my house just went boom. That microwave shot open, and I felt the wave of energy coming from it. It went off the charts, and I was right under it. Thank God it went over my head. I dropped to the floor when it all happened.
Wow.
Yeah. And I told my then husband, you know what? We're going to redo all of this. And we pulled wire out of that house. We redid the masthead, and we pulled in different wiring. And even then, I wouldn't let another microwave in it, and I still have no microwave in my life.
I don't blame you after that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean, we're getting into 5G, and we're bombarding ourselves with all kinds of different electromagnetic radiation constantly from your phones, from what's just on the towers by you. I mean,
yeah, and it's not healthy for you. You're taking loads of electromagnetic energy that you shouldn't be near. So think about that.
And some people are more sensitive to it than others.
Yeah. If you want to know why, human body is not as tough as you think. And gamma radiation or electromagnetic radiation, which is a type of gamma, is bad for us. It's hard on our DNA. It derazzes our immune system. It messes with us really, really bad. And yet we live in the middle of it like it's baby food.
It breaks that. They're finding that the 5G breaks down the blood-brain barrier.
Yes, it does.
That's super dangerous.
Yeah, I sleep Faraday at night. I have a Faraday blanket, and I cover up every single night. And today I wore it most of the day. I'm not wearing it right now, and I should be. Protect my body from it.
We would do
that by ET. Yeah.
We would do tests
after the break. I'll bring it in here and show you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We would do tests where I would have my back turned, and he would turn, because I swore sitting in this one area, I would feel more agitated and angry. And I said, it's like a pocket. And I would get this certain ringing. And so I said, I think I can feel the repeater from the Wi-Fi thing. And so we would do these tests where he would go turn it off and on. So when, I would raise my hand when I knew it was on or off, this and that. And he said, I got it each time. Like I knew exactly when he was turning these things around.
If they have time, the next thing, Alexa and what is it? There's another one beside Alexa. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't have them, but I know.
I got rid of Alexa.
Yeah, don't leave them in your house. That's a direct connection to you by, our technology. And now the hubs, that are there for, your phone systems they have a line of sight thing. They can only be so many feet between them. So if you look down the street and you see where your 4G is or 5G, or we have way more than that now, those boxes are close to one another and they're broadcasting into your home. Okay, that's serious stuff. And when you turn your Wi-Fi up, it breaks the connection to it. I even flip a couple of breakers where my Wi-Fi is. I have a breaker. I only plug it in where these breakers are, and we flip them off. We're on solar, so I'm not taking the electricity from the street. We're building our own, and that helps with that situation as well. Y'all have to think about, if you're way out in the middle of the country and there's no telephone lines, I guarantee you, yes, there's 5G, 6G, 7G, 8G. I know that they've got up to 14G now, and they were. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad, and I'm just turning it all off. You get a good night's sleep that way. You have better experiences in your going abouts, because when you sleep at night, your consciousness leaves your body. Why would it stay there? It can go and do stuff while your physical mind is asleep. If your physical mind is able to be consciously connected to it, then you remember what you're doing. You're out of body, and your physical body's getting the sleep it needs to repair, whatever. But your consciousness is still active. You're awake all the time. And most people don't realize that I only sleep about 2 hours a day. And I don't need it anyways. I'm aware. And most humans don't understand that they can operate like that. Most
I only
soldiers
get about 4 hours of sleep. Seems like most nights.
tell you that they can exist on 2 hours of sleep, no problem. Their problem is they're stressed out to the max and they come back with huge issues. But without the stress, it's no brainer. You can do it. It's not hard at all. You let your
Now,
physical sleep, you can
I just-
actually walk out.
I say before we run out of time tonight too, we'll have our last commercial break coming here in a little bit. We do have you have pictures and video that you gave me. Did you want to go over any of that too?
Sure. You can show anything I say you.
Okay, well, let me get my share
Show it
screen
off.
back up here. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see. I just listed them in order of like how they came in the email. I have like the first one here.
This is Talata. This is in 2021 in June. June the 6th, the night of June the 6th, going into the morning of June the 7th. I had just gone to Laughlin, Nevada, and I went over the border into Bull's Head City, which is right there, to an Airbnb because we were going to the UFO MegaCon. Talata followed me from Florida in flight. When we got to LA, he was sighted by the military. It was all over the news that he was sighted. They didn't know it's him. They just said, UFO, blah, blah, blah. I had to drive from the airport with my friend Yvonne Watson all the way into Laughlin and through the Mojave. Oh, what a drive that. Whoa, I loved it. But he followed me there. And then that night he came down because I requested I need film of you now. If I'm coming out, and I was right on the verge of it, I need photographic evidence of you. And I had some other, but I wasn't able to prove it. This does. That's him. The light you see is one of their front lights that's hugely bright. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the tail is the top of the craft. He's all in there. The light is used to obscure their actual body so you don't see past the light into what is actually behind them. They can array their body like a cuttlefish, and he was giving me that. That's at 3,000 feet right there.
Wow.
That zoomed up on him a little bit.
Now, let's see. Hold on,
This is Talat. This is what he actually looks like. You see the big light is between these two lights. That big light shines from right about there. These are lights that he uses to be able to see ground level and point at things. His emitters come out the front. They come out somewhat about the back too, but in the middle there is no EMP hitting where I'm at. And so this is not a picture I took. Somebody else took this one. This isn't at Laughlin. This is in Turkey.
You mentioned that when we talked on the phone earlier tonight about that. We've shown if anybody remembers the famous Turkey UFO footage.
This is him in Laughlin. He's arraying for me, so I see the shape of his body. If you keep going, you'll see. There's another one. You can see that he can turn out any part of himself that he wants to. He can go totally dark and you wouldn't even know he's there. Okay. This is when I got there, there were three of them. There was Talata, this guy, and another small drone. They always travel in threes. The minimum is three at a time. You never just see one. There's always two others with them.
Yeah.
He's dropping drones out the tail of the ship. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. You see 1, 2, 3, 4.
What do the drones look like? Like if you saw one?
They look like Tic Tacs.
Okay, I wondered.
Kind of weird egg shapes. Yeah.
Because that's what our military's described, in the
That's what.
the
Yeah,
Tic
they're
Tac.
drones. Yeah. Okay, this is him, and not Talata, but the other ship. And you see the drones are first starting to come out, and there's two of them. They come down in sets of two, and they shoot them out really fast, and then they drop down in a energy beam. Hold them there till they power up, and then they go. This is Talata in the moonlight in Turkey.
I knew this was Turkey because when I saw this picture, I'm like, that looks like the Turkey UFO.
Yeah. Now you see that light right there? To the right of that light is where I would sit. Okay, you can see in that window there, and they got pictures of it.
It's like right here.
No, right over here on the right side. See that
This
big
side.
brown window next to the light? That's where we sit. That's the front of the craft. And he's kind of boomerang shaped. And he has, when you can fully visualize him, he has a weird humpy dome on the top of him. And then he has battery packs and all this space underneath him is ship. You just can't see it because he's only arraying for you to see what you can see in the moonlight. Okay. Okay, this is footage from Turkey. Preston found this. When it first happened, they put it up on the internet, and I fully saw myself. I was like, oh, wow, they lit this out. And then it disappeared, and they scrubbed all of them. I never saw another photo of me ever again. Preston's a dog with a bone. He started researching this because he knew I told him this is it. And he was trying to prove it to himself that I'm telling him the truth. And one night he came up to me and he said, Dolly, is that you? And I said, yes, it is. And you can't see me fully, but I'm redheaded. I went gray. I'm 66 years old now. I lost all my red hair, but I was redheaded. Okay, and that's me wearing a black.
What year was that footage taken?
It was in 2007, 2008, and 2009. We did it for 3 years. This is 2008, and yeah, that's me sitting there in my seat. I'm way down and further back of him. And he's leaning back and looking at me, and there's another head right here. The two of them are in the window, and I'm back there, and they're talking to me.
I mean, it's famous footage that you've seen. It's incredible. You can see the heads turning and moving inside the ship cockpit.
Yeah, they're looking back at me and looking forward again. They were like two children sitting in the window going, lock, 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 you know. We knew that we were going to be filmed. We came back 2 successive years hoping the guy would get the idea to keep looking, and he did. And it was different months. We did May, July, August, you know, on different years in June.
So this is like kind of like just like, hey, you're gonna come with us. We're trying to do like a media campaign, like get people to see us. Or
they've always tried to show themselves to people to make sure that they see them, because the government's not going to tell you anything.
And also these videos you got here too.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay, this is Talata. He's holding as stationary as he can for me. And you notice when you look up in the sky, you see the big bright light. You're not seeing the entire craft. You're just seeing the light. They're not showing you what they are. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they do not. Most people only see the light. Okay, it's really important to understand that it's just the light.
I mean, you can kind of see the light, but you can kind of see the little bit of the craft.
Yeah, a little
shining
bit
off it, off the side of it. Yeah. Let's see, we got one other one.
This would be the one where he's going to drop drones. I got him actually doing it. And it takes a minute for it to show up, so you got to give it a second. He's preparing to drop. And I'm sending the messages, if you're going to do it, just come on, I'm standing here, I'm tired. I was up for like over 24 hours when I shot these. I was like, please, just get it done. You know, here we go. There it is. Just drop in an energy beam.
Wow.
Talata's over here to the right of them. You just can't see them. But they're dropping drones. They had to drop them to protect me while I was there. And I'm protected all the time. I always have drones over me somewhere.
Who are they protecting you from?
Think about this. Cognitively, you answer me. Who do you think they're keeping me safe?
Say, military contractors. I mean, the government, shadow government.
The CIA, the FBI, the Office of Government, my labbers, all of them, yeah.
I mean, they say, I mean, I've heard people that have been picked up by the government. And I remember Nick Redfern had somebody, a young man, who said he was picked up by the government, and they told him that, yeah, he was a hybrid, but they had to worry about him being like a sleeper cell. That they were worried about all you different hybrids out there being sleeper cells for the aliens.
Yeah, that's misinformation. It's not true.
Well, but from a military mind, from a mind that's in war,
then they're compartmentalized, and they know what they're told, and they're NDA'd all over the place, and they believe the.
I mean, look, if you're a general and they're coming to you get part of this program or somebody, you're high enough up, and they're telling you people are being taken, people are being genetically modified, these people are having implants put in them.
Right. Well,
you're going to think it's an alien invasion.
Yeah.
They
have to have people who will obey them, and that's how they do it.
Well, it's easy to find that mindset. It's the fear mindset. It's the war mindset. It's the defensive mindset. They're up to no good. They're all sleeper cells, all you, and they'd be tracking you if they believe this. They'd be tracking all of you.
They track a lot of people. Trust me, they track a lot of people. I'm tracked, and I've been abducted by them twice. So
Spielberg came out with a show many years ago that I really liked. It was a miniseries called Taken.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw that. but it follows generation.
Yeah.
And it follows an two different abductees, and they're generational. Basically, the two families being generationally abducted, and one's definitely a hybrid. One main character ends up being like a total hybrid, whatever. But then you also have a military family and their generations of passing it down through the family of controlling this whole operation. But what they end up doing is figuring out how to tap into the implants, and they start tracking all the abductees, and they see them as a threat and as a sleeper cell. That's the military government mindset of how they would look at you and everybody else that are having this contact as possible threat.
Well, the threat is generally telling the truth. They're afraid that you will be told the truth, and people will start to believe the truth. They can't have that. Disclosure is never going to come from the government. It never has. The people who have talked mouthpieces for them. No official in any government capacity whatsoever has ever told you.
What do you think we're going to be going to commercial break soon, but what do you think this whole disclosure kind of thing that they did happen?
It's a ruse to control you. It's bait and switch. That's all it is.
What are they switching out? I have my theory.
Recently the government came out and said there's no such thing as UFOs. And this is right after Grouch said he was in a skiff and he told the truth about all this stuff and he knows. But he's just an employee. He's never had contact.
Right.
He's never really seen it in person.
Right.
He's seen pictures. He is a ruse for the government to bait and then switch you back the other way. It is part of a plan that they have. It's creepy.
Well, what my point was about Gersh, and no matter what what his intentions are or what he believes, when he said when he was being testifying, he said, "I've been allowed now to say I've had some firsthand knowledge." The words he said, "I have been allowed," it means he is still under somebody's control, being told you can talk about this or that.
Yeah, but
now he's in hiding.
It has nothing to do with ET.
Yeah,
that he's only been shown what they want him to see. That's
right. Well, I mean, at the same time, you have Congress people like Representative Luna and Burchett, and Representative Luna came out of the skiff saying that she believes there's no way these things are man-made, that they have to be extraterrestrial. And then later on, we get a report from the Pentagon saying no, they're not extraterrestrial. We have had no such programs, and none of that's happening. But if that's true, then why you have Congress people coming out of a skiff saying the direct opposite?
Plausible deniability.
Yeah, but I love the backtrack. I knew it would come. I said it would come, and I said AARO would be like Project Blue Book Point 2.
Yeah, ATIP. You know how much they say? Oh, we're going to research this, and I laughed myself silly after that because they already know. They have more information than you can imagine, and they're never going to tell you they've got it. They have more knowledge of it than you can imagine. Do you know why they're only just now going back to the moon? Because ET is not here. They can't be stopped, and they know it.
Was that the case? Is that what the case was? Is that they couldn't go to the moon because they would have stopped them?
Everybody is going to the moon. Yes, ET is not here to stop them. Period. They were told don't come back, and they didn't.
Right. Exactly. Thank you. Because I'm one of those people who believes that we win, because we've had that's a whole other show.
I'm a NASA baby. My dad worked for NASA. I'm telling you.
I'm one of those people. I mean, I have guests on that disagree with me. We do that. We have guests on that I don't agree with on what they believe, but I've had guests on that believe we never went to the moon, and I disagree. I think we did. I think we did, and we were told, "Don't you ever come back here again."
That's right. We were.
We probably faked some after that. Do you think we faked some after that?
We went because we needed to know the truth about something. They were trying to figure it out, and they did.
Right.
The moon is glassified. We've had micronovas every 12,000 years, and they needed to prove it, and they found the proof. Okay, they came back stupefied, and it became in the 60s. It became a rollout at that point of almost unbelievable proportions for them to start making plans to survive a micronova. That's why they went underground. That's why they have seed depositories. That's why they're doing all this stuff, only so that humanity somehow survives. But they're the 1%ers, and they plan to be the ones to survive. They don't care about the rest.
Right. And the moon was their way of like
they want. Period.
Finding the scientific evidence that it was coming.
Right.
Because it's all there on the moon.
On and off. Don't come back out here. Don't bring your nukes out here. Don't do anything. And what are we talking about doing? I think somebody's already got one up there. A nuke. Okay. ET's not here to stop.
We've talked about that. Yeah. I mean, Yeah, they want to put nukes up on the moon. That's always been the plan.
I will tell you something. The Native Americans all over this planet, the natives all over this planet. There's Sami, there's Indians, Cherokee, there's Eastern Indians.
Cherokee.
I am also part Cherokee. I have Cherokee blood. Ostahatchee, as a matter of fact. It is amazing to me that they have an old saying, and I've heard ET say it too. I've heard them voice it to me. Humans are an empty bag of skin, some of them, and they truly believe that. And what they mean by that is they have no morals whatsoever. They have no conscience whatsoever. They don't listen to the higher beings. They don't listen to anybody but themselves. And they refer to them as empty bags of skin, and they're helpless and hopeless, and they want nothing to do with it. Nothing. Because they can't help them. We have to help ourselves. We made this, we're responsible, and we have to grow up, period. And we need to do it soon. And that's why I came out. Literally why I came out. I can't stand watching it anymore. I mean,
Well,
I was yeah. Go ahead.
As a kid, my favorite show was Star Trek: Next Generation. I wanted that to be our future, but I'm like, do we have to go through nuclear World War III to get there?
It was pretty much the only show my dad let me watch on TV.
Great dad.
I became a Star Trek Federation of fan person in 1968. Went to the planetarium where I was being trained in astronomy. It's the Miami-Dade Transit Planetarium. Oh, God, I love that place. And we went into a private room in there, and we watched an episode of Star Trek that hadn't been put out yet. And they had a representative from the fan club, and we joined right then. I'm a Star Trek Federation fan member my whole life. Just about. Yeah, there you go. And then I got into Klingons. I love Klingon language and all,
Oh, you know the Klingon language. I'm not that good. I don't know that. I can't memorize. I can't learn a foreign language to save my life.
Yeah.
I'm not learning Klingon. We got to go to our last commercial break. Guys, if you want to call in, I know you're probably fascinated by the conversation, but if you got something to share or join in, even if you've called in before and shared an experience, you feel welcome to call in and share with a guest that's not heard it. I don't mind. You can call in. We are going to go to our last commercial break. We got about a half an hour left of the show, but we'll be back with our guest, Dolly Safran, generational alien contactee, after the short commercial break.
Intercepted a transmission of unknown origin.
Transmission? Out here?
SOS.
Human.
Unknown.
Alien. Certificate X. Exclusive engagement at the Odeon Leicester Square. Now.
Any systematized transmission indicating a possible intelligent origin must be investigated. I will hear it.
In space, no one can hear you scream.
If you are interested in discovering the truth about the paranormal and want to hear from leading researchers in the field, join Justin Brown on his 3 weekly shows named My Paranormal Soapbox, Necromancer Live Show, and the Supernatural Symposium, live on Facebook, YouTube, and
This is an APAC studio presentation.
Hi, I'm Barry, owner-operator of Barry's Barometer Barn. Lately, I bet you've been lying awake at night asking yourself, how many barometers do I really need? Well, at Barry's Barometer Barn, we think you need more than one. Otherwise, we're gonna go out of business. Remember, at Barry's Barometer Barn, we don't know the meaning of high-pressure sales. Come on, folks, buy another barometer. I'm trying to put my kids through college, I've got a family to support, and a secret mistress who isn't cheap.
Visit Barry's Barometer Barn, 000 Storm Drive. Come on, folks, buy a barometer. I'm Barry's older brother, Larry, and every time one of you people walk past the store without coming in, Barry beats me.
This has been a presentation from Tim Morgan's APAC Studio. For more almost professional amateur comic studio content, visit the APAC YouTube channel. Search APAC 2002. That's APAC 2002 on YouTube.
When Alex Gardner is asleep, he has an extraordinary gift. The government wants it, the scientists want it, but to keep it may cost him his life. It might be better if Alex didn't sleep at all, but he cannot resist entering the dreamscape. Can you? See Dreamscape in the West End and all over London now, Certificate 15. It takes an extraordinary adventurer to enter the dreamscape.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from Talkstream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Please, Spock, do me a favor. And don't say it's fascinating.
No. But it is interesting.
You're listening to Paranormal Soup, bringing you the weird every Sunday night. Call into the show and join the discussion. The call-in lines are 219-230-4444 or 260-225-9419 or by Skype caller ID OOJBland00 or JBland Paranormal Soup. And now to your host, Jason Bland.
Tonight's guest is Dolly Safran. We've been talking all night and running out of time so quick. We're only got a half hour left of the show. There's so much more I want to talk to. We're going to definitely have to get her back on again. This is so fascinating. I've had alien contactees on, but Dolly is one of the most straightforward answering the questions. I'm not saying my other ones haven't, but really feels like she has more open knowledge of what's going on, a connection to the grays where she's getting the information, knowing things that most of us have no idea that's going on around us all the time, and that something big is coming. You know, she talks about the big solar flare or whatever that's going to take out everything. I mean, either way, I think you guys should prepare for something. I feel it, you feel it. We all know things are changing, and no harm in being prepared. You know, start growing your own food. They're already poisoning the food anyways. Start finding ways to be reliable. Me and my wife are working towards it every day. But I'd love to hear from you guys tonight. If you want to call in, join the conversation tonight. We only got a half hour left. Have you experienced experienced alien contact. I know you have. I say that facetiously because I know many of you in my chat room are contactees. You know, call in, join the conversation, but let's go ahead and get back to our guest. All right. What the heck? There we go. My lightning button didn't work for a second. I gotta have the lightning button.
I have a
Phone lines
crazy
are open.
cat, and she's attacking me. So if you see me bend over suddenly, it's to
Oh,
shoot her.
it's tradition on the show. It's tradition on the show for the cats to do something here. Oh, yeah. Hold on, let me get that up there. We got somebody on the phone line. We'll get you in a second.
Okay.
Show it.
Okay.
Go ahead and show it again. I got you up on the screen.
It's huge, and it makes into a giant blanket too. It covers my whole bed.
What's it lined with? Like kind of like protects you.
It's got silver threading in it and another type of metal, and it's totally Faraday. I can put my cell phone in, and the phone goes completely dead. It can't receive signal at all. And
Did you make that, or did you buy that from
No,
someone?
I got that. You can get this one on Amazon.
Really?
Yes. So, my cat I speak Swedish to my cat.
You're her, my cat. She's asking for food for the 100th billion time. She'll be up here meowing the last 5 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
All right, who do we got on? Let's see. Who do we got on the phone line?
Hi, Jason. I have a cold, so
Oh yeah, you
I
said.
don't know I don't know how long I'll last tonight.
Who do we
But
got? It's
I
hard
wanted Azariana.
Oh yeah, you sound
Azariana.
awful, girl. Oh god.
Yeah. It's just my throat. Anyway, I wanted to tell the guest that I agree with her totally. I have been writing everything down for years, and as an abductee, someone who had 4 hybrid children and an implant at my age. I'm older, and I have been getting more downloaded messages on a constant basis, and phone and ear ringing and everything else. And I have seen the visions that you're talking about. And I'm personally just waiting for them to come and take us away.
That's awesome. They will get here. I want you to take care of yourself and get yourself healthy again.
I feel bad now because I'm like kind of talking to her and some others. I got another one that called in. Dan, I will call you here back. That I'm like, why are they calling in? This is like this is their up their alley. Their experiences. I made you call in. You're sick. I am so sorry. Oh God, you got to get better.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that. And
well, you get some rest.
I don't publicize a lot of my writings or tell everything, but I'm there. I agree with you.
Hydrate.
Well,
you need water. Lots of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Drink the
I do a lot
water.
of stuff. Yeah. All right. Many blessings to everybody.
Yeah, blessings to you. You get some rest.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, have a good night.
Bye-bye.
I feel bad now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like, why is nobody calling in? Well, I know why she didn't call until I guilted her in. But Dan called in. Let me see if I can get Dan back. I saw Dan called. I'm going to call him back. Hopefully. Is it calling?
It's a
It's
cat.
calling.
Okay.
You there, Dan?
Yeah, hello.
Hey, bud. Thanks for calling in. I called you back, but thank you for calling in.
Yeah. How are you tonight, Dolly?
I am awesome. How are you?
Okay. Yeah, really interesting stories and stuff. I say I don't know where to begin. I've kind of had a life of weird too, but to put the story short, I've had my life threatened twice in situations where I could have either died or lived. One of those was interfered with by some mysterious person or individual, but after the second time, a lot of memories from the past started flooding back because I do suffer PTSD from everything. So
I understand.
a lot of this past stuff comes back, and so it's kind of two things I'm dealing with, which is the very close encounter with the triangle that I had in 1998.
You get the feeling that wasn't
And
real.
also,
Dan's the one that talked with me. We had to get somebody to translate in French to us, but to the French pilot that saw the Belgium triangle UFO.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, Jason does have the painting that I did of it, but which I did immediately after these memories started flooding back, and I know I had a lot more information that just kind of dwindled out for me, like, and there's still missing sections of that where I don't understand how I got outside from the inside and then outside again.
Well,
Plus it was just a bizarre day to begin with, but
yeah. It's amazing.
and I know you had mentioned that the TR3B, our own triangle, is responsible for a lot of that, but I'm not sure about I'm still not sure what happened.
It's matte black. It's ours. They have very few vehicles that even look as metallic as the ET craft do, and the ET craft can become invisible right before your very eyes. They array out, and we're not capable of doing that. So if you're watching a black matte vehicle, either triangular, rectangular, or circular, or one that sort of looks metallic but it's got rivets all over it and weird lights, that's us. And basically, I want you all to treat it as an emergency exercise and get away from it. Disappear. Don't go near it. Don't do anything near it. Just get away. They are highly radioactive and they can harm you. So stay away from it.
Well, I mean, there's definitely cases of that. If people have had radiation burns, famous cases.
Yes.
I mean,
you're gonna have a bad time.
It's kind of good to hear, Dolly, because this was black, dark gray, and sleeker than I can see why I pushed it out of my mind. I'm sure I did it right when I saw it up close. I did that. I'm pretty sure. Yes.
One of the problems with that kind of radiation is that what magnetic resonance is. It's an MRI, and they can make your body's cells stand up on end. So you transmit back the entire picture of your physicality to a computer. This is a problem in that people who go in them have experienced two things. Quite a few people do, as a matter of fact. It's over 50%. They have memory loss after a day, or they have claustrophobia. They develop certain types of weird fear responses. Electromagnetic energy all of your whole body, including your brain, makes your hippocampus go crazy. It doesn't operate properly, and that's how people forget. It just wipes your memory. Please understand that you're being inundated by something that ET did not create. We created it. Our technology is not as good as theirs. We don't have a snowball's chance ever of being that advanced at all.
I have up Dan's artwork that he did.
Yeah, TR3B is several examples of them. You got it. That's what they look like. Not good.
The one memory that sticks out the most is when I was outside and it was pretty windy, but it was like silent as well. And I heard like a whoosh, and I looked and I seen it arced up. I think it's the image in the upper right, if you can see it. But and I could see it, and it just kind of whooshed up like the way I can describe it is everything I seen looked entirely fake, almost like unreal and unprocessable. I can understand why I couldn't make sense of it at the time. Yes.
Yeah, I live near Tyndall Air Force Base in Panama City, Florida, and I was out at about 2:00 in the morning one night, and I saw a rectangular one go over my head at about 45 miles an hour.
Really? That's mine.
Yeah, and I was like, oh no. And I went running back in the house. I went, nope, not playing with these people. And I realized made immediate contact with Talata, and I'm like, what just went over my head? And he said, nothing you want to play with. And I'm like, okay. And he said, this one has laser cannon on it. Stay away. And I was like, okay. And it's a crowd controller. That's how Talata describes them. They're crowd controllers. Take that any way you want. Okay? It's not good.
I do remember looking up at what I would call dark figures. I did have the image in my mind, but it is like a puzzle. I don't know. It just kind of faded out, that part. And it just,
Yeah.
I'm surprised it got as far as I did painting it, to be honest. But it felt like a thing that needed to be.
Do you want me to show her
glad
anything
you
else
did
that
it.
you painted? He's got
Sure.
beautiful artwork. Let me see if I can
I know, I
add
love it.
more.
You're very good at what you do. It is amazing that you took the time to do this. Everybody should try to get a picture or draw what they see. Information can't be shared unless you do something about it the minute you see it. You keep a journal handy. If you see something, write it down, describe it in vivid detail. That way, that'll help you not lose the memory of it. It'll keep it cohesive for you. And you can go back and review it and try to replay it in your head. That's one way to keep your hippocampus, to put it in your short-term memory and your long-term, you know? So you made the pictures. That's beautiful. Thank you.
It also feels purposeful in several ways
It
because,
is.
like, even today after this event, it's, I don't know, there's been some stuff, yes. It's more of a positive thing that has come about that I'm still trying to figure out, but it's some of the stuff you've described, yes. Yes, just unbelievable things, yes.
Wow. Did you draw that?
Yes.
That's sort of like a golden light being. A little bit.
See, Dan, aren't you glad you called in? Yes, golden light being, Dan.
That's what I want to talk to you about. I've had a lot of golden light beings. That's what I call them. When it happens, you know that it's going down because they just take over your mind and the environment entirely, and you're on
They're climbing
another level.
They're almost into the fifth dimension already. They're still corporeal. They're fourth dimensional beings, and they are amazing. So if you had contact with one, ask it anything. If you come in contact with another one, because they can travel interdimensionally without help. Okay, they can walk between the dimensions, and that is what they are. And they're very cool. So yeah, it'll help you. It'll teach you. It'll do all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
I've never told anybody this, but what they look like is, it's like they're gold, but they're also muted out. They made it clear that they're muted out in a way that is safe for me.
Right, they're not fully in the dimension. Yeah.
Very, very tall. Well, it's like they have various personalities of their own. They're not like cookie cutter aliens.
Right, of course they do. We're all
whatever
different.
they are.
We're all different personalities, so are they. Yeah.
It's like they all serve a purpose they bleed. It's like they bleed this ancientness off of them, but they communicate in a way that's, like you say, kind of friendly, kind of in my lingo.
Right. I'll tell you something. One of the things that I learned from a child about ETs is that they are so wise that communicating with them is to learn to jump into the back seat of their car mentally. In other words, you put childish things away from you and you try to understand at the level that they're giving it to you. And if you're not quite getting it, stop them, tell them, explain, and they will. Like parents who are teaching their children don't talk baby talk to them. They talk real talk to them. They teach them from a level that they know they will understand. You have to just give them time to assimilate it and, go, oh, the light went on. I got it. Children can learn far more than they're being taught now. We all can. And when these beings are talking to you, they're speaking to you on a level that they're dragging you up with them, not talking down to you. But some people feel like they are because they're egotistical enough to think that you're being mean to me or not talking to me right. And some people get that impression of them. It's not true. They're lifting you up to them, and they're giving you a chance to enjoy knowledge that they can give you, that they're giving you.
seemed absolutely thrilled that I was there with them.
You probably know that.
Absolutely, like,
Beings in the fourth dimension,
okay.
to us, we don't see them all the time. And when they come through so we can, it's a big deal. You know, we all share the same space. All 12 dimensions are all on top of one another. And all the way through them, the beings that are dimensions higher than us can actually see back and see us. They interact with us. A lot of people have, guardian angels, they believe. It's fourth and fifth dimensional beings who are helping us. And they're right there. They see your whole life. They know what's going on with you. They love us. We're part of the
Call
whole
him angel, I call him tomato,
Yeah. That's how it is.
I did. Well, you guys talk about questions you ask when you're presented with something unbelievable like that. You kind of can't. And you guys talk about flying the ship. I know one of the questions I asked was, "Do you have one?" And they
Yes,
seem
Colorado
to
is my craft, and I did
kind of
yeah.
laugh at me in a way that was friendly but not degrading. It's
Right.
like, and I remember them telling me that they don't need a ship and they could be anywhere,
That's
any
right. Fourth
place,
and fifth dimensional
anytime.
beings don't need anything and come right through to you, no problem. The only thing is for them to come completely into the third dimension with us, they need a vehicle. And that's what they do, especially the fifth dimensional, because they are totally non corporeal. They have no body like we do, no blood. Okay. And so they indwell the craft and they can come here and enjoy watching over us, talking to us, and interacting with us. So.
Well, thank you, Dan, for calling in, man. Or you had something else? Go ahead.
Yeah, just to add something else I don't talk about a lot, that there was 3 that presented themselves in the front. There was a taller, more muscular type
Mm-hmm.
that seemed to take the front and was more wrinkly, more ancient looking. And then on the left, there was a female that seemed to radiate this, I hate to say this sexual energy that's like it was the most attractive thing you've ever seen,
Yeah.
And then on the other side, there was this more gruff, more serious kind of, what I end up calling the enforcer, I guess. I don't know.
The tall, you call them tall whites, okay? They're an ethnicity of
Well,
ETs.
they're gold, but not
Golden,
white.
yes.
But
Right, yeah, but people here refer. Some people see them as golden, and some people see them as white, and they can look very human all the way to the golden child. And it just depends on how they let you see them. Remember, a being that is mostly light can be and look any way it wants to, but when they're in their natural state, they look like golden beings, full of light, all full
Like
of light.
like with the aliens, a cocoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got to make a movie reference. That's just how I got to do it.
I've seen similar, Dolly. So yes, I get that.
Yeah, and what you learn from them is immense. You probably know and understand things that nobody else around you gets. It's a little bit of a journey you're taking with them, and they singled you out because you can hear them. That's the point. That's why they want us to use our abilities. That's why they want us to wake up, because when you do, you will be able to interact with them completely. It's a personal deal at that point, and we have to come up to them. They cannot come down to us. That's the way that works,
Yeah, it kind of feels like, after such a tragic event that like something has changed about me. That's, I don't know, I guess you could call them gifts that seem to progress over time, I guess. I don't know. It's weird.
When you wake up, when you start using your abilities, you're the one doing it, not them. You're the one who's waking up. And as you feel your abilities come to fruition, these, what you call gifts, are your own natural abilities. You're doing it, not them. They want you to understand that. They haven't elevated you. You're doing it yourself. Think about it. Yep.
A lot to think about there, Dan, but I got to let you go because we're going to run out of time.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks a lot, Dolly.
You're very
Jason,
welcome. I'm on
Jamie.
Messenger. Look me up. Dolly Safran. You'll find me.
You'll find her on my friends list.
Yeah.
But he's not
sure.
on Facebook. His wife is. So it'll probably be his wife.
Well,
I don't
contacting
do
you.
Facebook.
Yeah, he doesn't do Facebook. His wife is, though. I got his wife as a friend.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, make contact through that channel, and we'll see about making contact with each other another way. How's that?
You guys totally should, Dan. You really should. You need somebody that's like you ask me questions I don't have answers for. This lady might. I don't.
It's my path. It's my path. I've chosen this. I will help anybody with understanding anything. I'll teach you anything you want to know. It's personal for me, and
besides
single
Facebook,
out, I will help you.
besides Facebook, do people have a website or way to reach out to you?
No, I do that because I gotta like make the road narrow enough where I get you one at a time. Otherwise, I would be inundated like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah,
and
I've seen it.
it's crazy. I control that on purpose. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, if anyway, hopefully you guys connect. If not, reach out to me, Dan. Reach out to me, Dolly. I'll make sure you guys connect somehow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, bud.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you.
Night night.
When you said rectangular craft, the one UFO I saw, like besides that big light in the woods of Red River Gorge, Kentucky, the one I saw as a physical craft. I was 16 years old, and I was out there with 4 other people, and we all just got this weird. I'm guessing we all. For me, I got this weird like buzzing in my head and a feeling, a weird out of body kind of like feeling, and I just looked up, and it was like that scene in Star Wars when the Star Destroyer comes over the screen. Well, this thing came over our heads 400 or 500 feet up. Huge, massive, but it was just like a cylindrical or rectangular, boxy, no lights on it. Just like it had like kind of boxes.
Yeah, and
like,
you can hear it sleuthing above your head. Yep. And they go.
I don't know if I hear it. It's like a buzzing in my head. I don't know if I heard it in my ears or not. But it was weird. It went overhead. We none of us said a word. And it went over our heads, downtown Michigan City, Indiana, where I live. Lights of the buildings hitting it, everything. Downtown goes over our heads and just goes off into the distance. And we were like, what the heck was that? The next day, when I tried to talk to a few of them about it, they're like, what are you talking about?
Yep, I don't remember.
It was like it was gone from their memory. Like it never happened.
Yeah.
But
One of the reasons I have so much recall is because I was psychic. I was born that way. All right. It was just natural for me to remember this stuff. My higher.
Is that why I remember and they don't?
Yes, you're psychic. Yep. You're operating wide open almost. You're almost there. You're close. So keep trying. Yep.
I was 16 then, and
well, it starts early.
Yeah, I mean,
doing stuff.
It was a few years later. I attracted something very dark and negative that followed me, which was the shadow person experience I've written about.
That I want to warn you about that. Okay, learn to just tell it to get the heck out away from you.
Well,
okay,
that's what I've done. I've encountered it ever since that moment I was saved, and I said, "Get out of my house." When I did encounter it one more time, it's like it came back when I had the flu. I was really sick, and it tried to get to me. I swear it did.
Yeah, I know, because you're weak then. Physically weak, and it can disarm you. It can disarm you. I had one that was following me around for about a year, and it was I got pissed off at it, and I warned it to stay out of my house. So then it was outside my house watching me all the time. And I decided, you know what, I'm done with you. And I walked out the door and came after it. I was going to let it have its own medicine right back at it. And it was like, whoa, wait a minute. I did not, it did not realize I was capable of that. Not only could I see it, I could track it. And that scared it. It was like, no, not playing with you anymore.
What are they? Because
they're negative entities that are earthbound here. You don't want to play with them.
This thing knew everything about me. Like it knew all my insecurities. It would rip me out of my body at night, and show me things like my girlfriend cheating on me, which I confirmed from her. The scene I saw, she said that happened.
Yeah, that's how psychic you are. It can't do that unless you're psychic and you're broadcasting.
It was laughing at me. It was like it literally knew. There were scenes I didn't even write about in the story. I put it in Mike Rickseker's one of his books. I wrote my story out, but there's things I'll never talk about. I'm just going to say it right now. Things I'll never talk about. It knew about me and went into that hurt me to my soul.
Yeah.
It drove me to
I
my
had
brain.
one come after me when I was 5. He told me it was my father. It looked like the
Jamie.
devil. And
Jamie would
it
see
chased
shadow
me
people as a
around.
child.
It was taking me. It wasn't taking me out. I go out of my body every night, regardless. Okay, so I was out and it greeted me, and it was chasing me around.
Well, that's
And
how
I
it got me.
could not stand it anymore. And 5 years old, I grabbed a stair, the banister, and then the things that come down. I grabbed one and yanked it out, and I said, "Come here." And I said, "Let me show you why you're not going to bug me anymore." And I attacked it. And it freaked out. It did not realize that I could turn the light up on anything. And I shone light you wouldn't believe at it. I was pouring it on it. And I was saying, "I am going to make you disappear. You don't exist anymore." And I just went after it with that thing. And it tried one more time to get my attention. And I went, "Nope, here I am. Try again." And it realized that I was going to fight it every time. And I am capable of overpowering that. Every one of us are. If it's a negative energy, you have the ability to abolish it and make it go away permanently. You can even make it evaporate.
I believe that now. Like when I
Really?
was 17, 18, I didn't know what I was dealing with or encountering. And, it called me and my friend to it. It was at these railroad tracks where a bunch of people died. We never knew about that at the time. But it called us in dreams to there, and we went out there because we
Well, you're already out of bodies, so it's taking advantage of you. Everybody out of
Yeah.
bodies every night, whether you realize it or not. My Aunt Peggy had a house that was haunted, and we went to stay there when we were moving out of state. And in the middle of the bloody night, I felt the room upstairs. I was in my cousin's room sleeping. She was somewhere else, and the room got bloody cold. I mean, just cold. And I'm laying there thinking, do I get up? What do I do? And then out of the blue, in the living room, my parents were in the den. My brother was in the living room on the couch. We hear in the middle of the night, "Get the blank, blank, blank out of my house." We heard my brother get up, run through the kitchen, go out the back door, slam it, and get in the car and shut the door. It's like 90 degrees outside. It's the middle of the summer, and he had the windows rolled up because he didn't have the key to put the windows down. This huge station wagon. And we didn't budge. Nobody in the house budged. We got up in the morning. My aunt started cooking breakfast. My mom's like, "Where's your brother?" I said,
It scared him to the
"He
car.
wouldn't come back in the house." It scared him that
Wow.
bad. I said, "Bob, don't do that. Just tell it to shut up." And he's like, "No, not after that. No." He never went back in that house again, ever.
Wow.
It just, I'm like,
I know the feeling. I know why. Well, we are out of time, Dolly. I got to get you back on the show again. There's so much more I wanted to talk to you about. And I know a 3-hour show seems long, but it goes by fast. This is why I do a 3-hour show, because I like long talk, and we ran out of time. It was truly an honor to have you on the show. Any last piece of information you want to get out to the audience before we go?
just that I'm on Messenger. You can reach me there, Dolly Safran. I'm also partners with Preston Dennett in the Lightgate. We're on Facebook and also on YouTube as well. Our show's Monday nights at 9 p.m. Come by, hang out.
Tomorrow
We
night?
answer you in the chat room. That's tomorrow night. Yeah, well, tonight now.
Right,
It's
tomorrow night, yeah. We're
it's
in a
tonight.
new day.
That's right. And please read Preston's books. I always try to promote him. He's a wonderful researcher. ET is the reason that I found him. They sent me to him, literally.
Yeah.
And
I remember hearing you guys say that in one of the videos I saw
his
of you
works
guys.
are so prolific, and I promote him as every chance I get. So read his
And
books.
he's out there trying to promote the message that they're not negative, that these beings are right. So that's why he wanted me to get you on this show. I love Preston. We definitely will have him back on again too. Dolly, you've been awesome. We will get you back on this show. You have a great night, guys. But that is it. We will be back, not next Sunday because it's Easter. I am not doing an Easter show, if you know the history of that. But we will be back the following week. I don't know who the guest is, but we will have a guest 2 Sundays from now. Same bad time, same bad channel, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Central, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific time. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. Thank you to all of our Patreons out there. Your $2 a month, $3 a month, whatever you're willing to donate helps pay the bills for the show. Thank you to the Super Chat tonight. Thank you to everybody who shares the show. Keep sharing the show. Tell them Paranormal Soup with Weird happens live every Sunday night. All right, guys, have a great night. See you next week.